Welcome to the Nick and Matt Show, bringing the player interviews you want to hear and the hot topics you want to discuss. Recording live in studio, here's Nick and Matt.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to our Monday night show. Ben, you might as well go to 3-up.
Yeah, I forgot.
Evan is going to be acting.
I was on the screen.
Yep.
Nope.
Since Evan is going to be acting co-host tonight, as Matt is on vacation and Ben is fumbling around.
Yep. There you go, Evan.
There he is. Now Evan is just one up all by himself.
Yes.
Let's go. How it should be on a day like today. I am totally kidding. Please don't do this all show. I will I crawl into a hiding space, I guess.
Well, anyways, we are on episode 100. I think it's at 43. Yeah, 143. This episode is presented by Cosmic Disc Golf. For all your Cosmic needs, go check them out at cosmicdg.com. They help tournament directors get paid, and they also have a great online store. And if you're in the Massachusetts area, check out their merch. They have it over at Marshall Street Disc Golf as well. So everybody, this is kind of a different type of episode. Matt is not here. Ben and Evan are my co-hosts for the night. We're going to bring out an awesome interview with Parker Welck in just a little bit. Sorry for the delay as life goes on and we had to break into Matt's house, figure out how to get everything running, go through all Matt's passwords and get it all. Anyways, we are officially live, bringing you guys an awesome episode. And I guess we can start off. Evan, give us the quick rundown of Emporia Country Club. We had the Dynamic Discs Open. Give us what happened.
Yeah, we sure did. I'm going to preface this by saying I watched 0% of this, unfortunately, because it was incredibly exciting. But I just got back yesterday and just got back to work today and all the stats and all the fun stuff. So I compiled what I could and then also seeing what the rest of our team got. So it was an exciting battle in both divisions. We had Haley King win it in FPO. This is her second Dynamic Disc Open win of her career. She won in 2021 when it was a national tour. So this is the first time she's winning at the location on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. This is now her 7th elite or major win, all since the start of 2020. And if we just look since the start of 2020, her win rate is now 15%, which is the third best after Kristen Tatar and Paige Pierce. You could probably assume that those two would be the top two. But yeah, surprising that she is above Katrina Allen, who does have one more win in that time span, but has played more events. Win rate's a little bit smaller. Very cool. Haley King's back up to 6th in the Statmando official rankings, which is really interesting. She was all the way up at 3rd early last year before kind of struggling a little bit into 2022, besides the one major win, but she is back on top. She was in the playoff just a few weeks ago in Jonesboro, so cool to see her get the victory here. We also saw Holland Hanley and Ella Hansen, two of the up-and-comers, as people always love to say, on the podium. Holland Hanley, it's her 4th podium this season, and now she has 10 top 10s on the season from Majors Elite and Silver. That's 77% top 10 rate. Incredible what she's shown this year, even though she's still looking for that first win and might have thought it was this weekend. Same with that as Ella Hansen, who picks up her 2nd podium of the season, finishing in 3rd place. We, of course, notably saw her almost get the win out in Waco earlier this season. She is back on the podium for the first time since that. Kristen Tatar finishes in 4th place, which might be the biggest surprise in FPO. I kid, of course, somewhat. This is the 3rd time she's missed podium at an elite event this year. And if you remember, the stat going into this year was she's never missed the podium at an elite event. She had it majors in the past, but not at specifically an elite. And this year she's now missed it 3 times. Of course, they've all been top 6. So it's really a stat about semantics, I guess, but very interesting nonetheless. But unless you guys have any comments on FPO, we got to go into maybe the biggest story of the year, I might say.
Just really quick about the FPO side. Playoffs, badass. We love playoffs. We'd love to see it. Eagles on 18 forcing a playoff. And then going into Emporia Country Club's hole 16, which is notably the best hole on the property. Being able to watch that start the playoff. We saw it last year at Worlds. We saw it this year at the Dynamic Discs Open. Such a do or die hole. You got to get it onto the island to have any sort of chance. Haley King practically parking it. Holland Hanley just coming up short of it. Has to try to throw it in from the drop zone. Fails at it. Haley King, I think she actually made the putt, but could have been able to just lay it up and drop it in for the easy 3. So pretty awesome FPO action that we were able to see. Kristen Tatar was my pick for this weekend, and I thought she was going to have that chase card victory that she has been trying to get. I don't think she has a chase card victory yet. So I was really hoping she would pull it off, but congrats to Haley nonetheless. Haley's an awesome player, great putter, great throw of the disc. She talked about this week. Bradley Williams was helping her out with her form, and it was able to seem like it was clicking on all platforms with it this weekend. So pretty awesome to see. And Ben, give us the MPO.
Ben's going for the MPO.
Oh, sorry, Evan.
So we MPO. We had Parker Welck take it down. He was battling Calvin with last 5 holes. Unfortunately, on I think it was hole 15, Calvin just double bogeyed. Parker got that eagle easy money cash. All right, Evan, you can go.
You were killing it, Ben, so I was letting you roll with it. But yeah, I got to go on a bunch of Parker Welck stats before we get into anything else, because he takes it down. This is his first career elite or major win, if you didn't know that. I mean, you might not even have heard of his name before this week, and here he is getting a big win. It's the second time we've seen a new winner for elite or major events in MPO this season. That is, of course, joining Emerson Keith just about a month ago at the OTB Open. Now Parker Welck's joining that elite, see what I did there, club. He was 72nd in the world by the Statmando official rankings going into this event. I think UDisc had him a little over 100. He takes it down. Incredible upset, I might say. It's actually, he becomes the lowest ranked player by the Statmando official rankings to win an elite or major event in the history of the rankings, which go back all the way to 2005. The next lowest rank was Christian Dietrich out at the 2010 Beaver State, who was ranked 62nd at the time. A couple other notable ones are Colton Montgomery, 54th at 2020 Waco, and Connor O'Reilly at 2021 Delaware, when he was ranked 52nd in the world going into those events. Parker has now moved up to 32nd in the world by Statmando official rankings. Similar stat, he was the lowest ranked Disc Golf Pro Tour standings place by a MPO winner at a Disc Golf Pro Tour point event. I feel like a lot of words to say is, lowest DGPT standings place to ever win. He was 71st going into this event, just one better than his official rank. That beats Eagle McMahon, surprisingly enough, who was 63rd before the 2022 European Open. Of course, he missed a lot of time, dropping him in the standings. Evan Scott on the show last week without me. He was the third best at this with 53rd ranked at Zootown just recently. And interesting enough, a couple weeks before that, Ricky Wysocki 48th at Cascade Challenge. Similar to Eagle McMahon, just missed a lot of time before getting that victory. Of course, those two are notable names. Bring it back to Parker Welck. He becomes the first player ever in MPO or FPO to win an elite or major with 0 previous top 15 finishes with at least one start in his career before. There have only been 5 players to ever win an elite or major in their first ever start, so they have also had 0 top 15 finishes before. Parker Welck becomes the first to do it. His best finish in his career prior to this at an elite or major was 16th at Waco earlier this year. He gets the victory. There's so many, it's the biggest underdog story I think we'll see all year. It was incredible to see. Do you guys have anything to add about Parker before moving down the leaderboard a little bit?
No, just say a Cinderella story realistically at an Elite Series event, which is awesome to see. The eagle on hole 14 and then parking 15, parking 16, getting 17 with Calvin making a little bit of mistakes here and there. It was just incredible to watch that final 6 holes really go down.
Yeah, moving down the podium, we had Calvin Heimberg, of course, finished in second. He was battling towards the end. He is still number 1 in Disc Golf Pro Tour points, keeping up that incredible season with another podium. We had a stacked third place with 3 players. We had Evan Smith, who finished third at 2022 Des Moines last year. His only previous elite or major podium finishes on the podium here, not to be confused with Evan Scott, who won Zootown just a week ago. 2 different players, both fantastic. This is Evan Smith's first top 10 of the season. Alden Harris also gets a top 5 finish with this podium. That makes it back-to-back top 5 finishes on the season. He got a 5th at Portland Open just a few weeks ago. And Matt Oram, the favorited Matty O by Ben and everyone else. He has the most elite or major podiums now with 11 for players with 0 elite or major wins. He is still looking for that win number 1, and I think everyone wants it. Wasn't the week for him, but still incredibly cool. I'm going to move way down the leaderboard to outside the cash zone. We had Gannon finish 50th. He misses cash for the first time since his first career Disc Golf Pro Tour event, which was 2020 Jonesboro. And then we also had 2 players who finished on the podium last year, unfortunately finished outside the Brody Smith finished 80th. Excuse my words. I was going to say outside the top 80. 80 is inside the top 80. But Brody Smith and Logan Hartpool finished 80th and 87th, respectively. Really interesting. Last year we had all the wind. The absolute incredible rounds. We had 2 rounds at Jones, 2 rounds at Emporia Country Club. This year, a lot less wind. Only 3 rounds at Emporia Country Club. Jones Supreme, was not featured at all this weekend. So some changes to the event as a whole, which I think we'll get into a little bit later after we talk with Parker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I definitely think one of the biggest things, we were talking a little bit about it last week, just players who we think would win the tournament. Everyone had their picks. I picked Anthony Barilla and Kristen Tatar. Neither of them won. And so it's every single week is something crazy. But we did bring up Brody last week, and we brought up some other players of just who we thought have gotten very, very good at the sport, but we don't know when they're ready to kind of take down that first Elite Series event. And if you had asked all of us last week, was Parker Welck going to be in our conversation of winning an Elite Series event? I think every single one of us would have said, nope, absolutely not. Some of you guys might have even said, who even is Parker Welck? Now, fortunately, I actually got to meet him last year when we were there for the World Championships, but it just comes to show that when you have your weekend, you're having a weekend, and Parker was able to do that, keep it consistently smooth the whole time, and take down the first Elite Series win. So when it comes to other players being able to do that, we're at a point where it's, who knows, it's anyone's weekend. We have the most consistent players being the Calvin Heinbergs of the world right now, but we got some sneaky good players on the rise right now.
Yeah, and I don't think many people would have picked him to qualify for the Tour Championship before this weekend. But now with this win, as an elite winner on the season, he gets an automatic invite to the Tour Championship, even if he's not in the, I believe, top 32 that qualify. He will, even if he's, let's say, 40th place, he'll knock out someone who's in that top 32 to get an invite. And with that, it also means he has a Tour card spot for next year, but he also has a Tour card spot for 2025, assuming he plays in the Tour Championship that he auto qualifies for. So incredible win, not just the $8,500, not just the career moment, but he's also guaranteed to be on the tour for the next 2 years when it's getting awfully busy and crowded throughout the entire leaderboard.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. I'm kind of just quickly reading the chat. I'm sorry about my microphone. For some odd reason, it has decided to be acting up the last few weeks. If it is very loud for you guys, I do apologize. I am actually going to try to talk very quietly this episode. Maybe that'll help out. I'm also a decent amount of distance back from the microphone, so hopefully little things like this help out. But Ben, do we have...
Yes, we have
Parker in the
green room.
In the green room?
Yeah.
Awesome.
You want to bring him in?
Might as well bring him on in. Our DDO MPO winner, Parker Welck.
Oh.
And now we need
camera. We working, Ben?
Where are you? Oh boy. Interesting. Uh-oh. No, yeah, he's here.
Yep.
Just give me a sec. Yeah, can you talk one more time, Parker?
We hear Parker. Yep.
Evan, what link did you send him, brother?
I sent him the one that Matt sent. Matt was like, no, use this one. And I sent him that one.
Parker, give us a couple minutes. Ben's going to set it up and get you in. And all of a sudden, you're just going to join the show. But Evan and I are going to keep talking about stuff. Evan, we can quickly talk about the Kona Peach Day, the Euro Tour #2, Kona Peach Day. You might as well bring it on in. Give us some stats about that while we're working on Parker.
Yeah, I mean, Kona Peach Day, it has been a major in the past. It also has been an A tier as it was this year on the Euro Tour. Incredible event, incredible venue.
Ben, throw up Evan on the... There you go.
I'm trying to figure this out.
Ben's doing a lot of jobs right now. He has the Macram name tag on his camera settings. He is intern Ben, but he is killing it, running the whole show right now. So everyone is in the chat who loves talking with Ben. Give him some kudos right now, because even though it's not as perfect as when Matt's here, he is killing it and doing a great job. So all the love to Ben. But Rachel Turton takes it down in FPO. This is her second Euro Tour win. She is now 3 for 3 in podiums in Euro Tour events, winning. I didn't have it in front of me, but I think it was the Caladian Open, Calcedia. I don't even know. I feel like I'm saying Quesadilla here, and that's totally wrong. And then also winning coming in second in Scottish Masters last year. This was our first Euro Tour event of the season, being the second of the year for Euro Tours and taking it down. Nicholas Antala takes it down in MPO. This is his first ever Euro Tour win, but of course he has wins in other Euro Series events, 4 on the Prodigy Disc Pro Tour, which is the Finnish National Tour, incredibly strong fields, and then has one European Pro Tour win, the new tour that started last year in Europe. He does have a Euro Tour victory in his past, but it was an MJ1 in 2017 at Toonie. I don't feel like that's quite the same level, of course, as an MPO win. He has moved up to 18th in Disc Golf Pro Tour points, which is a good reminder that Euro Tour points, or not all of them, but a chunk of them, count for Disc Golf Pro Tour points. They're on the same levels as silver, so you only count 3 silvers and Euro Tours combined. So Antala has now moved up to 18th. And then I think the other notable name that we'll obviously have to talk about whenever we mention Europe for the next couple of weeks is Paul McBeth. He finished in 6th. He was playing incredibly well. I believe, what was it, a 14 down in round 2 in the dark because of some weather delays. In round 3, he unfortunately shoots a 988 rated round to drop to 6th. I think he was 2 behind Antala going into the final round, was as close to 1 back through a couple holes before starting to struggle just a little bit. He still averaged a 1033 rated event and finished in 6th place. Still getting a good amount of Disc Golf Pro Tour points, finishing 6th at a silver level event, although it is a Euro Tour. It's kind of tricky whether you say this is a Disc Golf Pro Tour event or not. It's a Disc Golf Pro Tour point event, but I don't know if it's officially run by the Disc Golf Pro Tour point. We'll kind of find that as things go on, but at least was a Euro Tour event.
Yeah, we see you now. All right, we can bring him in.
Let's bring him on in. Introducing
Give me a second.
Parker Welck, the DDO champion.
Boom.
Just wait. There he
you
is.
go.
Let's
Evan sent
go.
the wrong link. Blame Evan.
There he is.
I don't believe I did. I sent the one that Matt sent me, but I will forget that and let's talk to Parker.
Let's talk to Parker, the disc goat himself. Parker, you just took down as a 10-10 rated player in an Elite Series event, the Dynamic Discs Open. How are you feeling right now?
It hit me a little bit later in the day, the same day actually, and it was crazy in that moment. I tried to FaceTime my brother right after. Unfortunately, he didn't answer. But I went over to hang out with AB and Adam Hammies and Austin Turner, and then I went home and took a shower, and that's when it kind of hit me. It all hit me at once. It was the first moment that I was by myself, and I just started bawling in the shower, just crying my eyes out in the shower. It was an amazing feeling in that moment.
Now, pretty awesome Father's Day present. They were saying online, you guys grew up in Hawaii and your father kind of introduced you into the sport. Give us a little bit of backstory about how you got into it.
Yeah, my father was the Hawaii state representative for the PDGA. I don't know how many years ago, but that's kind of how that was like my in. My dad would always kind of just go hang out with the guys, do some disc golf, and I'd tag along and hang out at the course, just huck my forehands 50 feet and then keep on moving back when I was like 4 years old, 5 years old or something. And all these years later, I kind of just kept with it. It's always been like a hobby in the back of my brain that I never really took seriously. It was just there. And yeah.
Now, I think one of the most wild stats, and I had looked this up right after you won the tournament, because I see you and Cupcake always competing out in California together, and Cupcake, get some wins here and there. And so I went on and I was like, what? I want to see how many career wins Parker actually has. And you have 4 career wins, 3 of them in the MPO division, all being B tiers. And then you come out randomly and you shoot hot at an Elite Series event and you get this win. Talk to us a little bit about going from the Weekend Warrior, playing those tournaments out in California, to the decision going out onto the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
Yeah. So obviously me and Cupcake, we would always go back and forth. We were pushing each other so much while I was there to get better and better each day. We would always just go play rounds. And there's a few other guys like that as well, including Jake Brown and Jake Fraley. They're both two of the other guys that really pushed me. But those B tiers, man, those were fun, and C tiers as well. we got to the point where we were like, okay, we are getting pretty good. I know I wasn't winning, but I was always like second or third place at those. Pretty much every tournament I played, it was either like second or third place for the C tiers, B tiers, whatever. And I realized, like, I mean, I can do this. I'm high enough rated now. I think I don't even know. I was over 1,000 rated at the beginning of this year, and that was one of the requirements to. I don't even know if it was actually to get a silver card. And so I applied to get a silver card, and I didn't think I was going to get it. You know, why me? And I got it. And I just about fell out of my chair when I heard those news. It was really big for me at the time, but now it's just like, oh, whatever. But it was huge when I got that silver card, because then I could sign up for all the silver series and for not majors, for elite series. But I ended up I was able to sign up for everything, literally everything. So I'm doing it all this year. It was a big jump, but I had to take it.
So with this win, you earn a tour card for 2024 Disc Golf Pro Tour season, the elite tour card, or the highest level. You also earn a spot on the tour championship for later this year. And assuming that you play the tour championship, that means you earn a tour card spot for 2025 as well. So if you just play these events, you're locked in through 2025. And now knowing how much a silver tour card meant for this season, talk about what it is feeling to know that you're locked into these events for the next couple of years.
I had no idea that was the case. And when Terry told me I had a tour card for next year, I had no idea. I think there were some other benefits as well that some of my friends were telling me about that I got, but I was unaware of. But it all is just like coming together for me. This is what I wanted to do, and my wife and I, we agreed that you know, if I wasn't doing well this year, if I'm not high enough, top 80 or whatever they're going to do for tour card next year, then I'm probably not going to play next year. And now that I'm hearing that I'm solidified up until 2025, that's major. That's huge. That's crazy to me.
I want to dive into a little bit about your start onto, let's say, the elite level. I'm seeing here you played SFO in 2019 in San Francisco. A little bit of a break for COVID, and then you started playing 2021. Then 2022, you played Worlds in 2022, which was in Emporia, Kansas. You finished 86th. And then you come into this year and you're playing tons and tons of events. You have, you know, a good chunk of top 50s. You had the 16th at Waco. Talk about your start into the elite level, and then how those finishes starting getting a little bit better this year. And then I want to know how you were feeling going into Emporia this week when you finished 86th there at Worlds. Obviously, you know, Worlds is a bigger field, but just all those thoughts.
Yeah. So starting with the SFO, I was just playing like leagues and not really caring about disc golf. I don't even know how I got into that tournament, honestly, but I did. And it was like a whole family trip to go up to San Francisco. And I was thinking my dad probably was thinking like, oh, my kid's so good. He's been practicing. But I wasn't doing any of that. I just kind of showed up. I don't even know what place I got, but that was pretty cool. And that was like oh, that's pretty good, actually. I thought it'd be a lot worse than that. Is that cashing?
You got $217.
Nice. Okay, so I cashed.
Yeah, last cash you tied with Luke Humphreys.
Nice. Okay, very cool. And that was also my first experience with like a camera. They had a video called Driving on 9, and they filmed the best shots on hole 9, which is that super long downhill one. I don't know, 700 feet or 800 feet or whatever. And I put mine to probably just outside circle 2. Missed my putt, of course. But that was cool. And so moving on from that, what was the second one that I played? Probably Vegas.
Yeah, in 2021 you played Vegas and Goat Hill, which was a silver. Okay,
yeah. So Goat Hill's like pretty close to my house, and Vegas, I think I just kind of tagged along with someone else, I'm sure, maybe Cupcake or something like that. But that was kind of the beginning of like maybe starting to take it serious. That was I think I was shooting pretty well back then as well. I know I cashed, I made the cut, and I think I shot like 10-20 average or something like that, which was pretty good.
Yeah, in 2021 you were 10.06, but in 2022 at Vegas you were 10.24, which was a huge jump. Okay. That was actually one of your best event ratings on tour up until this.
Okay.
Oh, unless you, I'll let you keep on going. But I was going to say, I want to hear about Worlds in last year, and then how you were liking those courses, and then heading into Emporia this year.
Yeah. So last year I played enough events so that I would not be eligible to be Rookie of the Year this year, which is super unfortunate. I had no idea. So I went to look at the rankings this year, and I'm not even on there because I played, I guess, 2 majors, Worlds and USDGC, qualifying at Goat Hill from last year. And so I'm pretty bummed about that, but it's okay. And at Worlds last year, it was hilarious. And I've told a few different people. I know Cupcake's pretty good friends with Paul Macbeth, so I got to experience a practice round with Paul Macbeth, and that's what we did. And so he was like trying to show me the lines and stuff, it being my first time there. Paul Macbeth, not Cupcake. And he's doing like these touchy turnover shots, and I'm trying to copy his lines, and I think that's why I played so bad, because I'm not like a touchy turnover guy. If I'm able to throw just a bomb hyzer sidearm, I'm gonna do it. I think that's way easier for me, and that was the big change from Worlds to this year.
Yeah, and then throughout the year, you said you were you play it out, see how it goes. You have some solid finishes. Was finishing top 50? Were you happy with that and being like, this is good for this year, and then maybe improve on it next year? Or were you really gunning for more like top 20s? What was your mindset before this win?
Yeah, so it's kind of weird. Golf is a weird game. Everyone has their week. And my expectations were pretty high. But in reality, I just wanted the tour card. So top 80 in standings. I knew it was going to be pretty difficult, but I started the year playing really well. I got my confidence pretty high in those first couple events before I even went on the tour. And the Memorial as well, and then straight into Vegas. And I was playing super good, solid. I wasn't missing putts. I was throwing it good. Excuse me. But kind of throughout, right after Waco, I think I had a bit of an ego check where I played good and I thought I was the man. I really thought I was the man there. And going straight into Austin, I think it was next. Yeah, Austin. Mm-hmm. I just played bad. I couldn't get anything rolling. I had a bunch of birdies. I also had just a ton of bogeys, and I think I still cashed, but it was so difficult for me. I remember thinking, and also getting mad at myself for just missing like short putts and, messing up really easy upshots and, landing out of bounds by like an inch or something. And it just wasn't good from like there on out. It didn't feel like to me. I think I had one other good finish, or slightly. Oh, it was OTB, which is hilarious. That's such a cool event. I love going there because it's I love park golf, and it felt like a golf course and park golf at the same time, which is great. I'm sorry, I need to grab water.
No, you're good. Take your time. Here. You're going to be talking for a while, so drink up.
Water.
That was a great shot.
But at OTB, I shot 8 over the first round, 8 over, and my wife was there, caddying for me, watching, and my mom and dad were there because they're in Nevada, which is fairly close, and it was just I don't even know what happened. I shot 8 over the first round, and I think I brought that back with an 11 under the second round, and maybe a 9 under the third round, or something like that. And it put me all the way back to like 20 something place, which is unheard of. And Gannon texted me, or no, he came up to me and said, you only had to shoot like a 4 under to go into a playoff or first if I did that the first round instead of an 8 over, which is absolutely insane. And that's where I kind of, like, you can win one of these. You can actually win.
I think we might have lost him.
Oh,
nope.
Yeah, I think he's in and out. He's still there.
Parker?
Yeah, can you still hear us, Parker?
There we are. Are we good?
Okay,
still?
awesome. Well, hey, so Yeah. Now talk to us just
Where did
realistically
I cut
about
out
your practice rounds coming into the tournament and then going toe to toe with the number one player in the world right now. Talk to us about how that final round went and the mindset that you had going into it and finishing it.
Yeah, so I think I should start with Portland Open. I missed the cut by 1 or 2, and I booked a flight that day to go home. I was over it. I wanted to go see my wife. I was kind of bummed out because I felt like, my game was solid, but nothing was happening. And so I went home, sorry, and then
Drink up.
did not touch a disc for a week. I don't know why my throat's so dry. Sorry. We actually just had a zip line over a lake, and we were trying to zip line, drop, putt a disc, and then make it in the basket. So I think there was some lake water or something drying me out.
Oh, it's all good.
But where was I? Oh yeah, so I was over disc golf. I didn't touch a disc for a week and a half. And then I flew out to Kansas on Thursday. Got one practice round. It was pretty bad because I didn't touch a disc. And then Friday, shot 10 under. I was happy with it. I made pretty much everything. Not circle 2. I think I was 0% circle 2 round 1. Wait, I don't even know. Maybe it was round 2. It's tough for me to tell. I'm sorry, I don't have the stats on me.
No, you're good.
Evan does.
But
I'll let him roll with it.
but yeah, it was. And then round 3, I think round 2, hole 9, bang that putt, and the crowd went crazy. That's where I was feeling just outstanding. The best feeling for a bogey you could ever feel. And then I turned around and my homie Jake's there. He's like, "Nice bogey, dude." I'm like, "Dude, come on." It was, thank you. But it was cool. It was cool. Round 2 with my first camera experience. I was really nervous going out into it, but I made it happen, and I was happy with that. And going into round 3, I couldn't sleep. There was the nerves and the excitement and just so many different feelings. It was just too much for me to handle. I could not sleep at all. Maybe got like 4 hours before the final round. And I remember texting my dad because he was playing a tournament. And I said, "Hey, dude, you're going to win and I'm going to win. I promise you I'm going to win, Dad." And I went out there and I started hot. Man, that's just about the best you can do is go like 7 through 8 there. And hole 9 is such a doozy. I mean, I've always had trouble with hole 9 there. And but I got through it with a par, with a par, and I was happy with that. Moving on to the next hole, I was a little shook on that tee shot, but it somehow got all the way through. Tap in birdie pretty much. But the real thing happened on hole 13 where I threw it out of bounds, and I didn't see a tee shot, but I knew Oh, did I lose you guys again?
No,
Nope, you're good.
Okay, cool. When I threw it out of bounds and I thought he threw it pretty good, it was over. I turned to my mom and I said, "I just lost." But I was still smiling. I was happy. I was stoked. I was playing well. And I told her I lost, and I just wanted to keep pushing. I forgot about it. I threw it again and then hit that putt. Moving on to the next hole. Calvin just hits that tree. I could not believe it. I really could not believe that he just threw it into the tree and kicked out of bounds. So I wanted to really, really just, and my game plan is going for the eagle regardless. Whether he's going to birdie it or eagle it, I'm going for the eagle. Even if I'm 4 ahead, I'm going for the eagle probably. It was my time to be on camera, so I really wanted to make a showing. So I was playing aggressive, and I'm really happy how it turned out. So in my head, I'm thinking, I'm right back in this. Oh my goodness. So through the bomb of a drive, bomb of an upshot, and I'm sitting there thinking I could tie this up right now. I can tie this up with like 5 to play, 4 to play, whatever it was. And I didn't really have any nerves on that putt. I don't know what it was, but it was just free flowing, little low left side, but it caught. And it was just an unbelievable feeling. The crowd went crazy. And I watched the live looking back on it, and Philo's reaction was just amazing as well. He was just like screaming into the mic. But when I hit that, I won. You can't stop me. If after that putt, there's no way anyone on planet could have beat me. Just I got into a whole new mindset. It was I don't know how to describe it. Once I was in it, you can't get me out of it. There's nothing you could do to stop me.
And now, were you walking towards the next tee after you hit that putt, and then now you're like, all right, I got my 3, I'm getting out of here? Did you watch Calvin doink that putt to save his par?
Yeah, I think no, I was watching. I kind of went back to my mom and just kind of hung out with her and watched the other guys tap out. And when Calvin missed it, I was pretty surprised. But it was no tap-in, though. It really wasn't a tap-in, especially with that pressure. But I was really surprised. Just a bad hole from him.
Yeah, exactly. And then now, instead of being tied with him, that actually put you up by 1 going into 15. But then you got 16, which is always the 2-stroke swing hole. Talk to us a little bit about going into the dreaded 16.
I mean, 16 was easy. My worst drive was like 20 feet all weekend. Round 1, it was like 20, 25 feet. Round 2, it was like 6 feet. Round 3, it was like 10 feet. Or something like that. And my reel before the round, I also parked it. So it was just, I was feeling that hole. That was my hole.
Yeah, and you're doing this kind of stall Annie shot. Just talk to us a little bit about your decision making on doing a shot like that rather than hyzer flip mid range or a spike hyzer. Just give us why you chose that shot.
Oh man,
poor guy here.
I'm just dying. Sorry.
You're doing great. Keep it up.
If I'm being honest, I threw the disc that I was going to throw for the tournament on that hole straight into that tree on the right, and it would drop in the water. And my practice day. So I pulled out the A5 and just threw that shot, and I was like, okay, I guess that'll be the disc then. Not too much thought going into it. It's just what worked on that practice day, and if the wind stayed down, I was going to keep with it. If the wind kind of picked up, I was going to throw just a flat, overstable backhand. But luckily, the wind stayed down.
Evan, do you have anything? Because I'll keep rolling with it.
Yeah, keep on rolling through this round because I didn't get to watch it, so I don't know what to ask.
Why didn't you get to watch it?
I was traveling home, man. I literally today's my first day back.
Evan just got married, so we'll give him the excuse on this one. But all right, so you guys pushed on 16.
Congratulations.
You got married.
You guys pushed on 16, and now going into 17, you throw a shot, and the commentators made it seem a lot worse than I think it actually was. We all thought, okay, he's parring it from there, and now Calvin has a chance to actually go and birdie this hole. Calvin throws it low, kind of throws a little bit of a thrower, but ends in a spot where birdie is very, very unrealistic. And then we get up to your drive, and it's in a much better position than I think anyone gave you credit for. Talk to us about 17.
Yeah, so I was up first, and I really didn't play that hole great off the tee, and I still didn't on that final round. I always threw a little high. But the drive was good. If it missed that tree that it hit, it was just going to be perfect, probably. But it hit the tree, dropped, and it put me in a good spot where, I wasn't pushed back behind the trees. I could just, be in front of the trees and just do a regular hyzer instead of worrying about like a low ceiling. So I watched Calvin throw his shot first, and it did not get in a birdie position. So I'm thinking maybe I'll just par, but I want to give it a chance. So I threw like a super hyzer, and if it skipped, I'll be parked. If it doesn't skip, I'm going to have a putt. That was my thought process there. And it ended up skipping, and it put me under the basket, and I can't complain about it. And also the camera angle that Jomas has of Calvin throwing the flick to try and throw it in, I was standing, I think, pretty close behind him. It looked like it was in. He threw that thing in, and then it just kind of fluffed out right. I was pretty scared in that moment, but he missed, and we moved on.
Yep, and then now finishing up, going into 18, you got the 2-stroke separation between you and Calvin. Realistically, it's a hole that it looks like if you want to play for par, it looks like you can play for par as long as you get that first shot inbounds. But talk to us a little bit. What's your normal game plan on that hole? And then what was it that final hole?
Yeah, so going into 18, I was like, dude, you better land safe. If you don't land safe, you lose the tournament. So I just threw a high flex staller, pretty comfortable throwing that shot, and it landed perfect in the middle of the fairway. And Calvin crushed his up there, and I knew he had a chance to throw it in. So I'm lining up my second shot. I'm lining up the forehand, and I hear my dad in my ear just screaming at me, keep it in bounds, just keep it in the fairway. So I swapped to my A3 and just threw it right down the middle, low ceiling, and didn't care where it landed. I'm just laying up the next shot anyways, got with a 2-stroke lead. So I put mine safe and I go stand next to my mom and patiently wait for Calvin to throw his, and he missed. And then right when he missed, it's such a weird feeling. Everything just flushes out of your body, and you don't even feel real. You really don't even feel real. I told my mom I just won, and walking up the fairway, hearing the fans like just cheer, and it's such a crazy experience. It's yeah. I was lost for words then, and I'm lost for words now, but yeah.
Well, yeah, we tried to give you 48 hours to describe that feeling, but if you're still at a loss for words for it, we'll give it to you. Talk to us a little bit now about what does the rest of the season entail? How are you getting to tournaments? Are you driving? Are you flying? Are you meeting up with people? What is your tour life like?
My tour life it's pretty neat. I'm not sure if you guys know Jake Brown, but him and I decided to tour together. He's also from my area. We have a truck that we're pulling a trailer behind, and we're kind of just going stop to stop, and we're hanging out with like the AB and Adam Hammy's crew, and whenever they get like an Airbnb with a lot of space, we'll go hang out with them and park our truck there. But for the most part, we're just hanging out and doing our best.
No, definitely. So you're sponsored by Prodigy. For the people who don't know, you are sponsored by Prodigy. What does this mean? Have you been able to talk to them much since this one happened? What does this mean for touring efforts from them to you? Is there a disc coming out with your name on it? What's going on with that? Any inside scoop?
I am not entirely sure. There has been some text between us, but I'm not sure if anything. I just don't know. Yeah, but I can't say anything. I have no idea.
That's all right. Well, we're all hoping. I'm sure people want to go out there now that they, have a great idea of who you are. I'm sure there's a lot of people who want to support you. So hopefully something comes about to where fans from the Nick and Matt show listening to this interview can help support you. Give us a little bit, now that you've won a big Elite Series event, I don't know if that was really, I know you say you can do it. It was something that you always believed you can do, but now that you've actually won it, does this change any other goals going throughout the rest of the season? Do you feel like, okay, I want to pick up another win. I want to pick up a Silver Series win, top 5 at a major? What are the goals for the rest of the season now?
I want to be on camera. It's a whole different energy. It's so different. Everything is so different when the camera is on you, and I feel like that's where I shine. It's cool. It's like you feel so giddy. You feel just motivated to want to really do it, and to be in that position. It's really, really cool. So I think just being on camera will boost me a little bit. So if I ever have another opportunity, that would be really, really cool. But yeah, another win would be nice. It's one win is a lot for a guy coming from me, so I'm not gonna be greedy.
Kind of switching it up a little bit. Your PDGA location right now says Huntington Beach, California. People are making the Paul McBeth comparisons, but you are from Hawaii. Talk us through did you learn disc golf in Hawaii? Is that where you consider you're from? Is Huntington Beach just where you're located now? What's kind of your location history with that?
Yeah, so I mean, born and raised in Hawaii, lived there my whole life up until I was 19, and then I moved out to California, kind of near Huntington Beach. But I moved to Huntington Beach with my wife this 2 years ago, so I consider Huntington Beach my home. I've played Huntington Beach for the past, I don't know, 6 years. That's been my home course for the past 6 years. So my location is Huntington Beach, but I am from Hawaii. Either one works for me.
Very cool. And I'm looking at the rest of your schedule for this year. It seems like you're playing most of the tour stops, but notably not going over to Europe. Are you thinking about changing that decision now that you have a win, or are you still going to stay in the States and skip that part of the tour?
I'm gonna skip that part of the tour. I'm gonna go home and hang out with my wife. I never really thought I would be in this position. I never did. Nobody did. But to be invited to the European Open, it means a lot. It's really cool. But I won't be going to Europe.
All right, maybe 2024. I'm not trying to get too pushy. I don't have to travel, so I can't ask for too much. But it is exciting seeing those events over there. So maybe one day.
Parker, is there anything else that we missed right now? I know we've kind of thrown 50 questions at you all at once, but is there anything that we've missed about your disc golf life? Any ways for some people to be able to support you now?
No, there's no ways to support me really. You can just follow me on Instagram at
What's your
Disco,
Venmo?
and I think, and no Venmo. I am going to be starting to do some more vlogs. I think that'll be really fun. We just got done filming a whole bunch today, so it should be pretty fun doing that. Go follow me on YouTube as well at Disco. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know what Prodigy is up to behind the scenes, so maybe something's coming. I don't know.
All right. Well, that's all we can hope for, right? Evan, you got anything else?
No, this has been great.
Parker, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for taking time out of your Tuesday. I'm assuming you're already in Des Moines right now practicing for the Des Moines Challenge.
Yes, I am. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. Best of luck out there for you, and we'll catch you around.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Peace out, bud.
I didn't even think about Des Moines. Time is going by so quickly right now.
Well,
and, I mean, especially for Parker here, but he's got to get a feature card, either feature 1 or feature 2. We're going to see him on TV starting on Friday. There's no doubt in my mind.
You would think. You got to think next year's the DDO. We got to see him on there, reigning champion, kind of try to defend the title out there. And so, yeah, pretty awesome. 10-10 rated. I know we, talk about the ratings every week, but 10-10 rated, winning this Elite Series event with number of people that are in the top 10 of the world at this event as well is just, it's awesome. It's really, really cool to see just the kind of disparity that we have in the scene right now.
Yeah, and I didn't even mention the cool rating stats with this too. Yeah, he's 10-10 rated. That's the lowest rated elite or major winner in MPO since 2005 at the Kansas City Wide Open, which was a national tour event. Which actually, it didn't happen. Why did I think that happened this weekend? Excuse me there. It's a silver later this year.
Yeah.
But Chris Sprague won it at 10:03. There's only been 2 other. I believe if this query is all time, I mean, with the history of ratings, that is 2 other lower ones that I'm seeing here. 2 other in addition to Chris Sprague. But the notable one we have to mention was Cameron Todd, who was higher rated. He was 10-13, won 2016 GBO. It's the same event, just different name. And that was always known as like the, what am I trying to say here? Like the surprise win. He won a Worlds, correct? Or a major early in his career in the early 2000s, but all the way in 2016 past his prime to get a win at that, I'm going to say that low of a player rating was kind of monumental. And then here we are with Parker Welck also doing it even lower rated in this day and age where the field's incredibly deep. And there's now that he wins, I'm changing it up a little bit. Now that he wins, like any event you go into, there's like 120 people who you could actually be like, yeah, they could win because he wins now. Like if Parker Welck can do it, there's so many players who can do it. And I mean, not to underestimate how good he's been, he that's not to say that anyone could have done it. He obviously earned it, but it's incredible to say. And I'm not even going to make fun of Ben's picks going forward. If he picks some person who's like 30th in points, I'm like, hey,
always do better.
It could work.
You know what? Cat Merch has won a few this year.
Yeah.
There's been winners. Ben, I won't hate going forward.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So kind of bringing up the next topic just a little bit. And this is a quick little one, but we had a hot take come out in the Joe Mez practice round. And the only reason we're kind of really bringing it up is Maple Hill is very, very dear to our hearts. Everyone from the Nick and Matt show, we all grew up around that area. So Maple Hill is our course. Aaron Gossage, who got second at Worlds last year, and apparently during the Jomez practice round had said that Maple Hill, and quote me if I'm wrong, or, fact check me if I'm wrong, but someone had said that he thought Maple Hill was the worst course on tour. And it's just got me curiously thinking, I'm like, it's actually got a pretty decent mix of open holes and wooded holes. It's just an incredible venue in and of itself. And I know we are a little bit biased being from Maple Hill and loving it. But I'll say this, like, Maple Hill isn't my favorite course that I've ever played. I've played tons of courses. Like Fox Run, that's my favorite course that I've ever played in the world. And I finally just got to check off Iron Hill on my list. I've played Nantucket. I've played W.R. Jackson. I've played Vegas. I've played all these courses that are kind of notable every single year. Maple Hill is definitely not the worst course on tour. There are plenty of courses that are way worse on tour.
It's just straight up wrong. Like it's not.
Yeah, you can think it's not. It cannot be your favorite, but as a disc golf private venue, it is one of the best courses in the world, without a doubt. Especially the Gold's layout. It's such a great layout to play. If anyone ever gets a chance, it's a destination spot. People go to Maple Hill to play Golds. They play Diamonds now. They got the Old Glory layout, Reds, Whites, Blues, whatever. But it's just wild to say Maple Hill is the worst course on tour. And there's not really much more we can say to that unless we had Aaron coming on the podcast and explaining his reasoning for it. And everyone is entitled to their own.
I don't know if he's allowed on at this point.
Yeah, exactly. He might have just shamed himself
me.
off of here. Yeah, you never know. And everyone's entitled to their opinion, and everyone's entitled to a wrong opinion. Don't get me wrong, but just wild. Our group chat blew up from that, and
yeah.
So, anyways,
I believe his reasoning was there's not a lot of decision making. It's a lot of par threes. It's still a lot of par fours. Mm-hmm. No par fives though. For some reason, I don't know if I'm just kidding. That goes back to Steve Dodge.
Yeah, go back to Steve Dodge
show. Yeah. But yeah, a lot of like good par threes that people love. I mean, think 14 and 8 over the water. 14 being the big downhill one, 8 being a little bit more ace runny, although they moved it back for MPO. Those are just pick your shot, throw over the water. Land it close to the basket. It's kind of like, if an ape could throw a disc, they're just going to throw it and they're not going to choose which way they go. And I think Aaron was really trying to get at, he wanted more pars, pars 4 and 5. Combining par and 4 does not work in my brain. And he wanted to see more decision-making with it. And he just didn't feel that Maple had that. I still think there's some decision making, maybe not as much as other courses. He did say, I think he said Northwood Black was one of his favorites, which is a wooded course. So it's not that Aaron Gossage, big hyzer thrower with both backhand and forehand, was just wanting open courses. He does like the wooded ones. Northwood Black definitely has the decision makings. So I understand his kind of reasoning going into it, but calling Maple Hill the worst course on tour is flat out wrong. A huge exaggeration. And I'm with you, Nick. If you don't call it your top 3, top 5, if you don't even call it in the top half, I honestly won't get offended. But if you're calling it the worst course on tour, that's I don't want to say I'm offended by it. I just like, come on, like you're kidding. Like
Evan's offended. Evan is offended by it, which is fine. But someone in the chat had asked, what is the worst course then? I mean, this is no knock to anyone who's ever put in the time into it, but like for me last year, I went out and played Worlds. I played at DDO. I actually very much enjoyed playing the Jones Supreme layout. I actually thought there was a little bit more variety to it, a little bit better shop shaping. The Emporia Country Club though was decently boring to me. Definitely wasn't great, but I also thought like the Infinite course out at Vegas wasn't very fun, but I loved the Innova Factory store out at Vegas. That's actually probably one of my favorite golf courses that I've ever played. I mean, most golf courses, the Open at Austin this year didn't look like the most spectacular place to play, but I'm sure there are tour players who absolutely loved playing it, and I've never played it, so I can't really judge that one too hard. But Belton last year, I was fortunate enough to actually go out and play Belton last year after Waco. And there's one memorable hole in that course, and I think it's 10 or 11. It's where, you throw this bomb forehands through all the... Yeah, exactly. I don't remember 100%, but you throw through all the trees, and it's a really, really cool kind of hallway. Pretty much, it's that hallway that you would see on many golf courses. It's just a row of trees, and you throw through it, and you end at, the right or the left of it. But anyway, so Belton, to me, And like I said, no knock to anyone who designed the course or who maintains it, but Belton is far, 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 far worse compared to a course like Maple Hill. And I get it. Maple Hill it's one of the softer courses that we have on the tour. It's a par 61, maybe. It's been a par 59 in the past. It's got no par 5s, but it's got really demanding par 3s. It's got hole 6, which is one of the most demanding holes on the tour all year. Hole 7, which I think is just a phenomenal hole to watch people play. Hole 8, great. 9 is always, not my favorite hole. I've never loved 10 in the position that it's in right now, going up to the castle, but it is iconic in that sense. The big arm players are able to get the 2 on it. I think I've thrown it in for 2 during the tournament once before. There's so many iconic holes, I feel like, at Maple Hill, though. It's one of the best starting holes in the world. It's got one of the greatest ending holes in the world.
That's all you need right there.
Yeah, it creates... Yeah, exactly. Starting and ending, it creates just an incredible atmosphere. And I know this has nothing to do with the course in and of itself, but the atmosphere every single year at Maple Hill. When I first got into the sport back in 2013, and watching everyone just hang out at 18 and watching Paul McBeth shoot the 45 and then watching Ricky win it, watching Kale win it. I mean, so many incredible things have happened at that venue that, yeah, like Evan said, you can call it the worst course in the world, but you are flat out wrong. Or the worst course on tour, I should say. But
yeah, not in the world. I think there's a few courses just around here and there.
Yeah.
I mean, Ben just posted that picture on Instagram saying this show was going to be pushed back a day with a basket on the ground. I don't even know where that was that he found that. But
story behind that was in Western Mass, Curvin Park, I believe it is. It was a 9-hole, a little 9-hole course, just like, a little dinky, but I met these guys there, and they were renovating. As I was there, they're renovating the entire 9 holes, so they were getting brand new baskets that day and putting in new baskets that day. So it was pretty cool that I kind of got to see the last of that basket, and I guess they said it was going to be their new mascot, so it's going to be on hole and seat. But it's like a park.
Nice.
It's like a dinky. Western Mass has no course, unfortunately. So, like,
are you kidding
Western
me?
Mass has New England Disc Golf Center.
New England Disc Golf Center.
Okay, Upper and Western
which
Mass.
is literally top 3 courses.
Upper Western Mass, where you have Oak Ridge and Westy Acres.
No, west, like west, like
the Berkshires.
like where Berkshire, where I was, Westy was like an hour away.
I
agree.
That's what I
agree.
meant. There was like that Curvin Park was like the second highest rated course, and it was a 9-hole, 100-foot, each hole.
Well, good. Yeah. It works on your putting practice, Ben.
Mike Short says Curvin is the worst. So there you go.
I also don't like that name. It's like almost my name, but worst.
Curvin,
worst,
worst, whatever.
Yeah, it's Curvin. A worst version of Kearns.
Enough about that.
I want to bring it back to the course talk because oh my goodness, I can't say things now. For the worst courses on tour, I'm gonna say, I'm not going to even pick a specific one, but just in general say it's always the new courses in the sense that they're new designs. I'm going to go back to 2 years ago. Portland Open at Glendoveer. I honestly thought that course was not good. And it was thrown together last minute. No shot at Dustin Keegan. Him and Jeff Spring have worked incredibly hard. And now look at that course. It's one of the best. It might be the best ball golf course all year. It's one of the best courses, regardless of ball golf or not, of the year. They've had years to tune it. So when you see a new course on tour, and that's going to Austin, I thought that was a little bit poor, but you give it another year, it's going to get better. You give it 2 years. If it's consistently on tour, they're going to make it better and better and better. Now, I honestly would put Emporia Country Club in that. It's still not my favorite course. It's tough being in Emporia, tough being on a golf course, but they have made changes to it and made it better and better. And if you compare it to like 2016 Worlds, like it was just playing around a golf course. Yeah. And it's so much better. And when you just are able to put effort year to year, see the feedback of players playing it, it gets better and better. So when you see a new course pop up, there's a lot of just hurdles to jump through with it. So I think I'm going to go Austin, not a knock on it, because I think Austin should stay on tour just because it's in Austin, the city alone. And I think there's potential in that property. But the courses that have been around on tour for years, there was Memorial that had its time come to an end. So it's not all courses in that sense, but Maple Hill, even Eureka, which it might be getting pushed past the time. It's like so iconic now and still plays really well for the pros that I don't want to see it. I'm not going to call that the worst course on tour. Definitely not. I think there's a lot of good courses on tour now where it's kind of hard to choose which is the worst.
Yeah,
but it's not Maple Hill.
No, definitely not. And I actually, really enjoyed playing Eureka the times that I've gone out and played it. And I'm not a power thrower whatsoever, but I actually do enjoy going out and playing it. Northwoods Black was one of my favorite courses that I've ever played now. That course was incredibly fun, and the work that they've put in there is just amazing. But I guess going into the next topic with this, while we're still kind of talking about Emporia Country Club, and shout out to Drew Gibson on this one, and shout out to Daniel, who actually just brought it back up. But Drew tweeted that the atmosphere this year at DDO just didn't really feel the same with the amateur side of it not being at the event as well. DDO has been known and previously as the GBO to have this massive block party that closed down a whole street. Emporia, just in general, Emporia, Kansas loves whenever this event comes into town. But you could definitely notice the amount of people that weren't at the event, more so when people actually start talking about it. But it definitely seemed like where it's a middle of nowhere tournament, not having the amateur side of it, definitely kind of, the pros noticed it. And so they noticed that there weren't as many people watching them play, not as many people attending the event. But this kind of brings up the situation in the conversation of why weren't more people there? Why weren't more people there just in general? Is it high ticket prices? I know the amateur event wasn't going on. So for next year, does the amateur event come back? What are the main reasons, though, why this was a lowly attended tournament? And when I was there last year for Worlds, obviously a much bigger tournament, much bigger scale, a lot more people going out to it. It's actually fun to watch in person. I love watching disc golf. I don't love watching the wide open golf courses, especially a lot of courses where you're kind of designing it to be on a windy day. We saw completely different scores last year compared to this year. I mean, what was it, 6 down or 13 down or something like that? One last year, one 30, 31 down, one it this year. It's a course that really you need wind for it to be a little bit more interesting to watch. But then at the same time, when it's too windy, you're kind of just watching people throw wherever. And it's kind of crazy. But let's just kind of talk about a little bit right now of what makes it so the attendance was poor.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think it's the fact that the course is boring because of no wind. Sure, Ben. I don't agree with the amp side take either. I feel like it makes really good sense to not have an amp side, but also that includes all the other pro age protected divisions, pretty much anything but MPO on the elite level. I think it makes sense to have it be another weekend. And that's what they did this year. They brought back the glass blown open name. And I think it brought it back to April when the event used to be, and brought it as there's this big event. And then when the elite stop comes around for just MPO and FPO at that elite level, now in June, it's just its own event. And I think that makes more sense because you have volunteers, everything's devoted. You have all the volunteers devoted to the elite event. You don't have to have volunteers out at all the other courses at the same time. You don't have to have all these spectators playing during the rounds. I understand what Drew's saying is you get everyone there and you have an early morning 8 a.m. tee time. If you're bad like me or you're just in a specific division, you get an 8 a.m. tee time, and then you're at the pro course from 11 a.m. to the rest of the day watching. Sure, there are those cases, but I think the biggest reason I'm going to have 3 reasons. I think the biggest one is ticket prices. I believe it was $40 for final day general admission. Okay. General admission should never be that high for a single day ever. I don't care what the event is. That is too high. I guess the only scenario is if you only can have like 100 people there, if you have some celebrity event at Ben Askren's house or something. I don't know. That's the only reason you would have high ticket prices. General admission needs to be dirt cheap. I don't care if it's final day. That needs to be get everyone in the door, even if it's only watching in like a certain hub. Get people there for the cool holes. If you're trying to get a VIP pass to get extra swag, to get extra access, to follow cards, I honestly don't care what the price point is. It could be $1,000 like Worlds is for that super high pass. That's okay, but general admission needs to be dirt cheap. You need to be as cheap as possible. I think it was $100 for the whole week. That's too high for people traveling in, which Emporia is like, you got to travel in. There's like 20,000 people there, and everything else is a 2-hour drive. Like, you're traveling in, you want to be there for the whole week. I think it needs to be cheap. The second one was also, it's just Father's Day. It ends up being a bad weekend. It's hard to have final round be on a kind of a holiday. I mean, not like officially a holiday, but hanging out with family, you're focused on those things. You're just going to watch it on TV or watch Jumbas the next day. And I do think the third thing is being in Emporia, being in a small town in Kansas, hours from Kansas City, hours from, a few other bigger cities. with Kansas City also having a silver event later this year, I believe it's the last silver event before Europe, or maybe the first back. I forget exactly when it is. That gives people in Kansas City, the biggest city, biggest metro around Emporia, access to all the pros for likely a cheaper price and closer to home at a new course. The people from Kansas City probably have been traveling to Emporia for years to watch the pros play, and it's exciting for them. But with the tickets probably being twice the price, it being, is it a 4-hour drive? I don't actually know how long it is from Kansas City to Emporia. It's a good enough drive for a day trip. And then you just get to watch them at a new course that you probably play often. If you're from Kansas City and being in that metro area, you're just going to wait until they come around then. So that might even be the biggest factor.
1 hour, 30 minutes.
Oh, wow. It's way closer than I thought. Excuse me. I did not fact check. No, but hour 30 is still like a good chunk for a day trip, to drive all the way to Emporia and back. It's not far if you're staying for the week at all. But go ahead, Ben.
Yeah. So I think the biggest reason, it's boring. You're just throwing in a field. It's basically pros doing field work for 18 holes. See who gets the closest. Obviously, that's a little mean. I don't actually mean that, but it is.
You're Aaron Gossaging this take right now.
It is pretty boring to watch. Like, I tried watching the Jomas coverage, and it's just like, even hole 1 that takes so long. They're just doing hyzers, and it felt like when I was watching the live coverage, it just felt like it was just way too long, and that's all it is. It's nothing special. It's artificial B, and like 16 is a really cool hole, like iconic hole. I think it's really nice, but there's just no holes like stand out to me. I can only think of like hole 1 and 16 as like holes that like I can remember if you ask me like 6 months from now. I just think it's just a little boring, and I think the Pro Tour is eventually going to go away from Emporia, Kansas. Believe it or not. So that's my take.
What year? What year is the first year without Emporia, Kansas?
Without Emporia,
26.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. It's just 2 out. It's also 2 out away. Like, they went from Montana to Emporia. Like,
yeah, that's exactly what I was going to bring up next, and I know Simon has talked about it in the past as well. Is a lot of these people, when you're flying into the event, you're an hour and 45 minutes away. Then you gotta, after you finish the event, drive an hour and 45 minutes. People trying to come in and spectate the event. It's not convenient at all to go into Emporia. Now, you could also say the same thing about Vermont. I know it's not super convenient. You can't just fly right into Jeffersonville. I think you got to fly into Burlington, which is probably an hour and a half as well. Like, Vermont is also not in the best area. Now, to me, it's 2 of the most incredible courses that we do get to play on the tour and do get to watch on the tour. But it's definitely not in a great area. Now, Massachusetts, we're an hour away from the airport out in Boston. You can fly into Worcester if you're lucky.
Too, yeah.
So you can kind of get that. But yeah, I think tournaments need to start kind of getting a little bit closer into bigger areas if they want to keep the attendance up. But one of the questions that I was going to bring up was, if we're talking about this was $40 per day, it's $120 for the pass. Maybe it was $100. Maybe they had a discount if you bought them all at once. But kind of, and this is mainly for the chat or people just driving along, but how much would you pay? I know Maple Hill, I'm pretty sure, charges more than that.
They do.
Right? Do you guys know off the top of your head?
They do charge more. I didn't really...
For general admission?
I'm pretty sure they do. I'd have to double check, but that's why
I thought it was like 25.
I didn't think $40
Honestly,
was that big, because I'm Maple Hill.
Okay, so maybe not more than 40, but
I didn't
what is a good general admission price then? Evan, when you say a good general admission price, I'm thinking $10. $10 gets you in, you can walk around, you hang out. You don't have any VIP passes, so let's talk about Maple Hill for a second.
Yeah.
You can't watch hole 3, you can't watch hole 4, 5, 6, maybe 7. You can kind of go from hole 1 to hole 2 to hole 8, go on from there, hole 11, hole 12, 13, on and on and on. But what is a good general admission price? Now, I'm one of those people where when I want to go to an event, like if I'm going to the Celtics game, if I have the chance to go down in the loge seating or get a decent seat for $100 to $200, I'm probably going to do that. But I'm just as happy if I spend $30 on, the seats all the way up in the rafters, because I'm actually at the game. So will I do that? I mean, I'd love to go see Billy Joel play in concert. I would spend $400 or $500 to see Billy Joel kind of on his way out, because that's a once in a lifetime thing. But for an event like this that comes around every single year, I'm seeing pretty much the same players every single year. More often than not, it's the same course every year. I'm down to spend $20 to $40. But at the same time, if you're trying to get the full 4-day experience, which is what Maple Hill has to offer, now all of a sudden you're talking about $160. Then it's a little bit different. So I understand what you're saying, but what is that happy medium price that we're talking about?
Yeah, so
Yeah. You can say the chat button.
I'm just gonna point out what Maple Hill for this year. They're doing I think it's $10 without a few holes for Thursday. It's $20 without a few holes for Friday, and then it just increases, I think. And then it looks like Saturday is $35.
Then I'm going to cut you off really quick.
Mike Schwartz is in the chat with it.
No, hold on. I want to cut you guys off really quick. Parker just texted in the chat, and he said, that was my first podcast experience ever. I'm sorry if I talked too long. Dude, Parker, if you know at all the Nick and Matt show, all we want to do is talk. If anything, if Matt was on the podcast tonight, you would have been on for another hour as well, because we would have just gone back and forth and had more questions to ask you. You did absolutely incredible. 10/10 rated podcaster guest. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But anyways, congrats once again. You killed it on the course, and you killed it on the show. We were very, very thankful to have you.
Parker, you're on the show for a reason. We wanted to hear you talk. We're not trying to get a 10-second soundbite and then us talk more.
No, it was cool.
I thought he did great.
It was refreshing. He was very excited. That's what some people are hard to get answers from. He was bringing it all.
All right, I'm going to hurry up with this though. Mike Schwartz says 4-day general admission at MVP is $88.
That's if you buy it all together. I was
you buy it all together.
Individually
what's just final round? That's all I care. Final round.
Final round
admission.
if you just buy is $45.
30. Okay, so that's kind
of
a lot.
And with whole A is $55. So that's what I'm saying is the price structure. It's Thursday's cheaper, Friday's a little more expensive, Saturday's more expensive, Sunday.
DDO might have been that, but I mean, still, I heard $100 for general admission for 3 rounds. If it's 4 rounds for 88, either way, I think there's a clear also difference between Emporia Country Club and MVP or Maple Hill being at the MVP Open. It's supply and demand. I mean, you only have so much supply at MVP Open. I mean, they're working out new parking structures, but if you have 2,000 people at Maple Hill, it looks packed. You're like, holy, there's so many people here. If you have 2,000 people at Emporium Country Club, it looks sparse, especially when they're watching all different holes. Maybe if they're just huddled around hole 16, it looks awesome. But if it's not, it just can be really tough. Second, Nick, I want to go back to you're saying you would watch Billy Joel for $400. That's awesome. It would be, I don't know if you go by yourself, maybe
I would go by myself. If I was the only person to go, I'd go by myself.
Nick can play
I got no shame
on the piano. Just saying.
No shame.
But if you're going to a thing, the max you're pay for is you and your girlfriend, or you're going to bring a buddy or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
So now put yourself in Matt's shoes. If Matt wants to go see a Celtics game, he's got to pay for him, his wife, and his 4 kids. It's a whole big deal. It's an excursion. The kids are going to be like, I want food. I was that kid when I was going with my parents to Red Sox games and whatnot. So you got to spend all this money. Think about how expensive it is just from a ticket perspective. And that can get when you're paying $40 per day, you're going to get not as many kids. It's only be the incredible diehards. There's a difference between sitting in the low box seats for the Celtics and behind the bench and sitting in the rafters. I think the rafters seats should be dirt cheap,
which I'm pretty sure they are.
And we were going to go into something else with that, and I honestly forget what the rest of the question was. So if you remember what it was, I can give my other answer. But if not, I say we. It
was pretty much, what would you spend on general admission? What do you think is a fair price for it? I mean, I know our sport is growing at somewhat of a decent rate. Everything from year after year after year, things are going to get pricier and pricier. Now, with them getting pricier, you want the experience to be a lot better. So every single year, I would assume Maple Hill is going to have something new for the people to be able to enjoy. Maybe it's a new parking lot. Maybe it's, games in the sap house, stuff like that. I mean, there's got to be something new every single year if you are charging more and more and more. But it's also, realistically, we're comparing apples to oranges when it comes to the venues that we are going to. It's tough to really compare any venues in disc golf because they're all so different in so many different ways. I mean, Emporia Country Club is sitting on an actual country club. The course is designed to kind of flow with the golf course, when Maple Hill is a private disc golf course that has been a private disc golf course for a number of years. And so you have 2 completely different experiences within itself. New Englanders are going to prefer watching Maple Hill over Emporia Country Club because that's the disc golf that we grew up on. That is how we like to enjoy disc golf. There are people who do enjoy the wide open bomber course. They love watching these pros. I thought the way Parker dissected hole 14 with the massive forehand, big putt to get that eagle. I thought that was sick. And it was very, very impressive, especially to watch that in the forehand line. But, okay, I want to see that maybe once or twice around. And then I want to see players hit the woods. I want to see them shape shots through trees. But I get it. The experience of it is different.
I'm going to go a different perspective here.
Of course you
think
are.
about Emporia Country Club. That style, not just Emporia, all the places that are, let's say, charging over $30 per day. Then think about the European Open. They notably don't charge a thing, and they have thousands of fans show up.
That's a great point. But it's also the European Open, so
it's European Open. It's their, let's say, it's their one big event of the year with all the U.S. players all getting there. I mean, even all of Europe, but also Finland too. They get to see all these new players. It's a major. It's different standards, of course. But we always talk about how great the fans are, how big that event is. If you're showing a new person disc golf, like, you might as well just show them that final round from last year between Paul McBeth and Eagle McMahon with all the fans there in that incredible battle. Where if you then pan over to Emporia Country Club, and I feel like I heard I think UDIS brought Garmin to the World Championships last year, and there just wasn't a lot of fans, and they were like a little bit bummed because they're like, disc golf's this whole big thing. We want you to do disc golf things for your watches and GPS equipment. I think I forget exactly what they do. But then they don't see a ton of fans. It's hard to have them believe that. But if they were over in Finland and they see this, and you bring, a prospective company or relationship, you go in and they're gonna be like, oh my goodness, disc golf's huge. We got to get into this now. Yeah, let's do disc golf. That's like, it's totally different mindset, but it makes it look so good, and it's so good for our sport. And then you got to also add in the cost analysis. I feel like is a finance term for this. Is if you have people showing up, if you have 4,000 people show up, how much is the average person going to spend on swag, on food, and all this stuff? Where if you have 500 people show up at $30, you might make less because they might not want to buy things, and they're not going to spend as much in total compared to so many people getting there for free. I mean, it's like the minor league baseball model. Their tickets, they practically give them away because they know you're going to go in and buy an $8 hot dog and a $14 beer. They still sell high concessions, but they don't care how much the
Shout
ticket
out to
price
Greater
is.
Good. We love their beer. It's incredibly good beer.
I'm wearing a Woo Sox hat right now. So yeah,
exactly.
You gotta go back there.
We got to get to a game this season. That'd be awesome.
I moved away, and so I'm like an hour and a half away.
Although, you can still come down. Dude, I'm 10 hours away. I'm still going to make a trip back there.
Fair enough. Keene does have a summer collegiate baseball team called the Keene Swamp Bats. So that's pretty cool. Went to one game already. Going to go to more.
Riddle me this.
$5 to get in, and it's actually pretty busy for a collegiate summer league game. You're like, whoa.
That's pretty cool.
People are going to these.
Riddle me this. Every single professional sports event that you go to, when it comes to like baseball, basketball, football, you can go in, you buy very, very expensive beer. Don't get me wrong. It's always expensive, but for the people who enjoy drinking beer, it's always fun to get beer. When I go to big events, I get some beer because I want to hang out and have a good time.
Get some beer.
Disc golf events, we don't really see everyone lining up the fairway with just a red Solo cup in hand or like a plastic cup drinking beer. I feel like that's something that, I'm assuming that it's allowed in golf. I was watching some highlights of everyone threw beer when I was watching the Full Swing documentary, and someone hit a massive putt on, it must have been the Waste Management hole 16 or 17. I'm sorry, I'm getting it wrong.
Also, I've seen that in Live Golf recently.
Yeah, there was the event recently where the guy had the champagne and got tackled by security.
Oh, I guess that was sick. Fancy. Yeah, but that's not the one I'm talking about. But that was hilarious at the same time. But I'm just talking about, that's another thing that you can get at an event. As an adult, a lot of adults like to drink. Okay, we like to have beer. We enjoy it. Some people enjoy it a little bit too much, and then the next day sucks. But at the same time, at these disc golf events, Maple Hill, a lot of the breweries come up. Dave Richardson, is he Flying Dreams?
My goodness, I'm blanking. It's not Flying Dreams. Why don't I know it?
Okay, anyways, the point of it is people, I remember I've bought beer up there. People have bought me beers up there, but that's just enjoyable to just walk around with the beer in hand and watch disc golf, something that I don't really know if every single venue sets up for that, but lower admission prices give people more things to spend money on. The Disc Golf Pro Tour every single year has a massive pro shop. They got apparel out there, and they bring in other pro shops. People want to do some vending as well, giving the people more of an atmosphere. Remember when the Pro Tour first started, Steve Dodge used to have the circus There was literally like 8 mini games that you could play, and pros were helping out facilitate all those mini games. And I'm not saying bring that back, but I'm saying bringing more amenities into the sport for people to want to come out and enjoy it. Why do I want to drive an hour and a half from Kansas City to go watch the Dynamic Discs Open? One, I want to watch the best disc golfers in the world play the sport that I love playing. And two, I want to go out and I want to have a good time.
That's what I think it is. I think it's lack of amenities, lack of money. The reason you're not seeing these fairways lined with beers and solo cups is because it's only on hole one's tee pad. If you're out on hole, for example, maybe a hill, you're out on hole 8 all day or not 11, you're like so far away from the tee pad. And I know at MVP Open they did
go put a beer cart out at hole 8.
They have a beer.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I know that's where I was going. They have it at 11, but I'm saying I'm talking about for all the encompassing all events. I think it's just either the lack of money, or they just need to focus more on amenities and put it like every 3 holes a beer cart. I think that's why in golf there's so many, because you probably can't go anywhere without seeing a beer cart. So that's the main reason. I think it's because hole 1 tee pad is like the clubhouse in disc golf, and there's not really much amenities on the course other than Maple Hill. Like Steve Dodge does a good job there.
I'm just wondering when I'm going to go play a disc golf course on more of an open one, and there's going to be a cart, either a cart girl or cart guy just rolling around and saying, hey, do you want a beer? You want some food? Say less. Absolutely. I want to get to the back 9 while I'm hitting, 50 or 60 on the front 9 at a golf course, and I want to get my hot dogs. And I want to get a couple of those, and then I want to shoot another 50 or 60 on the back 9. Like, that's what I want to see at a disc golf course too. My favorite disc golf courses are the ones where, and this is a really great thing about the Grange out in Spotsylvania, Virginia, is you play 1 through 9. And then when you get to hole 10, you pass by the pro shop, you pass by the kind of hangout area. So you can run to your car really quick. The parking lot's right there. And then 10 through 18, and you end back at that area as well. The flow of it is so awesome. But another thing that we're spoiled with.
Well, what I'll say at least is if you go to, baseball games or golf, what are you going to have? You're going to have Bud Light, you're going to have Michelob Ultra, you're going to have Coors Light.
Dude, say less.
I mean, sure, still good. But I will say the props to disc golf when they do have beer, it's usually like cool craft beer. I mean, again, we're talking about Maple Hill having the craft beer. I mean, up at GMC Smuggler's Notch, they have
out in Oregon.
I'm blanking on those. Oregon, you have the Dosses, and I'm sure with their brewery company and then a few others, like that's cool. Someone was saying there's free beer at Austin. So when there is beer, I think it's a really, really cool setting that it's more of a craft setting. I mean, even like food trucks too, you're not getting some Aramark, concession stand stuff. Yeah. You're getting a cool food truck that's making cool stuff. It might be a little bit higher prices compared to, actually, it's really not, because they sell the concession price for so high. I mean, it's better food for same price. I think it's cool when it happens, but I do agree that it needs to happen more. I've been to a few Disc Golf Pro Tour events where there's, only 2 food stations, and it's not a lot. And then you've been at some more like, MVP Open, where there's so many different places to get snacks or beer or food. And those are great. And I do think that's something you need to go more for. And to round out this whole conversation, there's a whole lot of reasons why, we saw smaller attendance numbers at DDO. There's a lot of fixes that can happen, but I'm gonna at least be on the positive side and say that we do see a lot of things get worked out. I think we've seen ticket prices rise because we've seen the popularity of the sport grow. And you try to go a little bit too far, it doesn't work out, you bring it back. There might be cheaper prices next year, or there might be more amenities. We'll see some sort of change, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think if you're charging more, there has to be something that you bring to the table where it's like, okay, this was worth it, rather than just disc golf.
Yeah, exactly. And this is, a great comment by Bobby. He said, took my 3 nephews to Jonesboro for the final round, $200 for VIP, $100 on discs, so $300. Watching Eagle and Calvin battle and seeing my boys' jaws drop when they crush drives, priceless. Absolutely. The experience of that is incredible. Imagine being there for the 2022 World Championships the 2021 World Championships, and watching James Conrad hit the shot out in Utah, hit that holy shot. I mean, that's a priceless moment that you literally can't even put a price on it, because being there for that moment is incredible. Every single one of these tournaments has the potential chance of having a moment like that. And I'm just going to open this up to chat a little bit. We're slowly going to walk off of this conversation. But at the same time, what is something that you guys want at an event? What would make you spend $30 or $40 per day to go to a Disc Golf Pro Tour event? Sometimes it's the venue, sometimes it's the players. This is also another thing. No Paige Pierce. She was doing her music festival thing down in Bonnaroo, I think is the
Bonnaroo, I
festival
think
is
it
what it
is,
was
yeah.
called, which pretty awesome. I know Discraft was there. It seemed like an incredible time. Live music, bunch of DJs. Seemed awesome. Paul Macbeth, obviously, is out in Europe right now. No Eagle McMahon at this event.
No
Yeah,
Simon
he's still
either.
injured.
Simon
So
missed.
no
No
Simon,
Simon.
no Eagle. Simon was just whooping up on people at a B tier out in Massachusetts.
Fire. That's elite
What's
move.
that?
I said that's an elite move. That's fire.
Yeah, exactly. You know, he's still got to make a paycheck somehow. So going and whipping up on people. But shout out to the other guys like Dylan. I'm not even going to bother trying to pronounce his last name. But
Gabagool.
yeah, I want to shout out really quick, and this is a shameless plug on my part. I went out and played an A tier at Iron Hill. Shout out to anyone who has helped out at Iron Hill. That course is so freaking fun to play. But the tournament director, Vince, assistant tournament director, Jimmy McIlvaine. And if you're just getting into the sport, you might not know who he is. Go look up Old School Disc Golf monthly videos. He's one of the commentators, him and Carl Cubbage. Jimmy McIlvaine, absolute legend in the sport. I actually did see him, didn't get a chance to introduce myself. I was pretty bummed about that. And then I want to shout out my buddy Cody Bradshaw, one of my closest friends down here in Virginia now, getting second place, ultimately losing in the playoff, which was a bummer, but got second place at the tournament. It was a super fun weekend, hung out with all my friends, and great time. But
Yeah,
enough about that.
Tony Mo Reese taking it down.
Tony Mo Reese taking it down, dude. Stud of a lefty.
What a
incredible lefty player. And hole one, funny enough, you could argue that it's a little bit lefty friendly. It's also very righty friendly at the same time. Just a smooth righty turnover, lefty hyzer. The second hole, way more righty friendly. Just kind of hyzer, miss the one tree in the middle, get to the basket. Cody ended up hitting a tree a little bit too long. Tony Mo Reese, this isn't a playoff. Tony Mo Reese, you very rarely see lefties with a great forehand. And this dude absolutely piped a lefty forehand on a smooth hyzer. Put it to 33, 34 feet, maybe just outside the circle. Canned the putt, ended up winning it. So shout out to him. So that was incredible to be there. Got to watch the playoff a little bit. And
I want to go back for a second though. You said lefties rarely have a good forehand. I feel like every lefty either has a good forehand or a good turnover.
Yeah, they have a good turnover, but you don't see a lot of lefty.
Like
look, we've got. Chris Clemens, arguably one of the best lefty forehands in the game. Zach Melton, arguably one of the best lefty forehands in the game. But I think, could be wrong about this, Zach Arlinghouse, younger player. I'm pretty sure he's a righty forehand player, lefty backhand player. Doesn't have a lefty forehand. And so you just see a lot of them that are the lefty backhand players with the righty forehand. I don't know why. I know a lot of it comes from baseball.
Like 4 people like that. It's
yeah, exactly. And so it's just cool to see lefty forehand players. We got to see Chris Clemens on the feature card at DDO the first round, and you get to see that lefty forehand.
Well, keeping it in Delaware, I did want to say, well, Michael Johansson also getting third place.
Yep.
It's
missed the putt on the final hole from about 42 feet to also go into the playoff.
Yeah. We saw Mike Mosier. Well, I didn't see it.
I saw.
You saw. I just say that. That's why everything like that saying. But Mike Mosier wins MP 50. That's win number 276 for him. He has I wrote that wrong. I got the number wrong. I didn't write down how many MP age protected wins he has. But he's getting up there on the list. I think he was 4th in pro wins in total, being open and age protected pro. Behind I have the list up. I got to find it real quick. It is Schweberger, Elaine King, Barry Schultz, and then Mike Mosier in 4th. So cool to see him getting a win. I'm sure those other players also probably got wins this weekend. But just with it being a notable A tier that Nick, you played in, was able to come across it.
Yeah, exactly. And I was talking about Simon a little ago. He didn't just whoop up on everyone. He was being pushed. Don't get me wrong. Like we just say, Simon came out and whooped on all the local boys out in Massachusetts. But Dylan played absolutely incredible. I think it was only 1 or 2 strokes after the first round. And then I think Simon got off to a little bit better of a start the second round and ultimately was able to close it out. But no, some players in Massachusetts actually played incredible out there. Notables were like Casey White. He was at that event. Kyle Moriarty was at that event. And I don't know everyone else, but hey, you want to hear something really cool about? You want to hear something really cool about my last round at Delaware?
Yes,
I got to play with royalty. Paul Krantz. Played with him the final round.
Ooh.
Also got to play with Harry Chase the final round, dude.
Oh,
and then
no
Trevor.
way. And
yeah,
they both beat you?
I played a bad final round. Harry played incredible that round. Paul and I were definitely struggling a little bit, me a little bit more. And then Trevor Harble played also a great round. Him and Harry played great, but it was so fun because I've never played a tournament round with Paul before, and so that was great. And Paul's dad, just the nicest dude in the world. So him and I are hanging out the whole time. I'm hanging out with Paul and Harry. Dude, such a good time. I wish I played better. Don't get me wrong, but you know what?
Wait, that's wild. That it was you, Harry Chase, Paul Krantz, and Trevor Harble, who have all lived in Massachusetts at times.
Exactly. And then I played with Gillis McDougall,
but that's Massachusetts.
I played with Gillis McDougall round 2.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
it was
crazy.
super cool. Yeah,
nice.
It was awesome.
Yeah,
but
cool.
Anyways, that pretty much covered the stuff that we wanted to talk about.
I wanted
Emporia
to
Country Club. What do you got?
I was going to swing it back over to Europe real quick. There's a Prodigy Disc Pro Tour event, and I swear this is a Hawaiian city, so I don't know how to pronounce it, but Oulu, O-U-L-U. That's Hawaiian. It really is, but apparently it's Finnish.
Wow.
This was the number 2 for the Prodigy Disc Pro Tour. Again, kind of the national tour of Finland, but the fields are so strong that it's essentially the same level as the European Pro Tour or the good Euro Tour events. I'm going to try my best here, but we had 2 first-time winners in MPO and FPO on the Prodigy Disc Pro Tour. Miro Raihanen wins it in MPO, and Olivia Keinstead wins it in FPO. Olivia Keinstead, it was her 15th Prodigy Disc Pro Tour event. She has finished in top 10 in every single one, but this was her first win and only second podium of those as well. She finished 3rd at Tampere in 2021. Cool to see her get the win. And then Miro Raihanen, if I'm getting all these pronunciations right, he gets first place. It's only his 4th Prodigy Disc Pro Tour event. His best previous finish was 24th just earlier this year in Helsinki. He also has some European Pro Tour events. He finished 4th at the Belgian Open earlier this year. Has yet to play a Euro Tour event. I think he's a little bit of a newer player. The first event I have for him was an MJ18 in 2021. So those young Finns are scary, but cool to see that. And Nick, you hit the other events that I had coverage for, so I don't have any more cool stats.
Yeah, I mean, stats are definitely awesome when you have them. Realistically, one thing, we actually haven't talked about them in a little while, but they're an awesome supporter of the show. We do love them. We're getting into the summertime. I would just want to shout out DG Max Wax. If you go check out their website, they have the greatest grip kind of enhancers in our sport. You put on the sticky stuff under your fingertips. It helps increase increases the spin off of, you can see it from Ben right now showing up, the mini looking DG Max Wax. They also have a little chapstick one that is great. Use code Nick and Matt for 10% at checkout.
Chapstick container one. Let's be clear.
Chapstick container one. Yeah, please don't use it as actual chapstick. It helps you get a grip in the sport of disc golf, which we're in that season where getting a grip is very hard with how humid it is in the areas that we all play in. So check it out, dgmaxwax.com. Use code Nick and Matt. And I'm not sure, but they should be coming out with a really, really cool summer blend that I'm very, very excited for. But like I said, one more time, check them out, dgmaxwax.com. Use code Nick and Matt at checkout for 10% off. They've been incredible supporters of the show. If you were a little bit newer to the show, please check it out and tag us in on Instagram if you go out and use it. I remember we've used it before when we played at Meadowbrook and done some fun videos with it. So we're very excited for all the support that they have given us on the show. I just had a topic in my head and then kind of forgot what it was.
I want to talk about your background for a second, Nick. We've been going the whole show and you're not in the creepy basement anymore. You got an upgrade.
Dude, I got a little bit of an upgrade. So I'm house sitting right now for my girlfriend's parents, and they have a very beautiful home out in Virginia. And so I've decided to just move myself into the office, which is where this is her father's office. And so I moved myself.
Yeah, what type of baseballs? Yeah, who signed what? Tell us.
In the glass.
The Sandlot reference, a good Sandlot reference.
It says 1998 Diamondbacks inaugural season, and then that's the signature. So I'll let you tell me.
Yeah, that's got to be Randy Johnson, maybe.
And then Balloon Johnson,
Jack Anderson.
There's a little piece of paper.
I'm trying to think of.
It's got a COA.
Like Steve Finley and oh my goodness,
it's the official Gonzalez? 1994 World Series baseball.
1998.
It says 94 on the COA.
Maybe they didn't
94.
win. Maybe they were in the World Series.
1994 didn't happen. It was the strike year.
I'm just telling you what I'm reading.
That's got to be either really expensive or really cheap then.
I don't know. Someone tell me. I'll text them actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious about
text
that.
them.
You got to take some pictures of that. I want to. That's fun to figure those things out.
Hold on.
I don't know if Randy Johnson was he on the Diamondbacks in '98?
Yeah.
Was it a little bit later?
I'm not the Pawn Star guy that they call like, hey, let me get an expert in. I couldn't read that.
They had him by 2001, which is when they beat the Yankees, right? It was the second from the left.
Dude, I don't know.
Yeah, I just don't know what signature was up. But anyways, yeah, so I'm staying here, and I brought my whole computer set up because I'm sick of driving out to Good to play some video games at night when I want to. And so now I can play video games here. It seems like the internet is a hell of a lot faster than I have out in Good. So, yeah, I finally brought it here. I brought a basket over for myself and all 25 of my practice putters. And so I will be doing some putting practice actually after this podcast when I get a little bit of food in my stomach. But yeah, anyway, so I'm hanging out here. I'm house sitting because they have two beautiful cats and I'm a huge cat person. And so I would let them in the room right now, but Sydney, one of the cats, would be walking across the whole thing every single 10 seconds. I'd pick her up, put her down, and she would jump right back on. So anyways, the door is shut. If you hear some random meowing, it's because they're pissed at me. I left all weekend, and when I came back, they were like, please don't leave again. Little do they know, I'm leaving next weekend as well. So feel bad for them.
Bummer.
But
cats are the best, though.
Yeah. Oh, cats are amazing. Yeah. I don't know. So anywho, but enough about that. I have a cool place that I'll be set up for. I might actually be in studio next Monday.
What?
So, shout out to that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to fly back to Massachusetts Sunday or Monday. I haven't quite decided yet, but sick. My brother and future sister-in-law are in town, and so I want to spend some time and see them because the last time I saw them was actually a year ago when I went out to Oregon. I think that was the last time I saw them. Yeah, nice. Yeah, because they went to New Zealand for Christmas because they're bougie. And anyways.
Yeah, I heard your brother's a genius through your cousin, so.
My brother is a genius. Yeah, I'm very, like, I'm not dumb. I'm pretty dumb. But, like, I didn't apply myself in school. I never got good grades. The only time I wanted to get good grades was because I wanted to play sports. But my brother was just a freak of nature when it came as a student. He's also a very, very talented and gifted drummer. Especially in the heavy metal regards. He's got super long hair, goes all the way down to his back, and just an insanely good drummer. But yeah, he's very, very smart. And so yeah, I want to go back and see them for a little bit. So I might go back and spend like 3 or 4 days in Massachusetts, and then, but it should work out to where I'll actually be in studio.
Dude, we should plan to film.
Yes.
All of us, we should do what am I saying? Record a video. One of our challenge videos.
Exactly. Totally down for it.
Yeah, one of our ideas.
We're going to have some more topics. I thought we had something else. We've only been going live for an hour and like 30, 45 minutes. We got to
chump change.
37.
Yeah, exactly. This is a 2-hour show on the regular. Des Moines Challenge is coming up. Notable about Des Moines Challenge is Simon Lizotte, I would assume, will be there. He is the reigning champion. One of the best moments in all of sports when he putts that last putt and gets a nice little finger point with it. Definitely one of my favorite moments from last year's disc golf season.
I was thinking back to that playoff and just like,
dude, sick playoff.
The sickest playoffs we've had, I'm gonna say in the live coverage era, because like you have 2014 Worlds, you have oh my goodness, what year was that USDGC one with Climo and Schultz? 2002 or something like that, 2003. Okay. 2004 maybe. I mean, you have like a few like 3-way playoffs. I can't think of how many others have gone past like 3 holes on that level. Yeah. But when we think about live coverage era, I honestly think that's got to be number 1, right? Am I crazy? Like, is there a better playoff? Era.
I mean, like it all depends. It all depends on what your opinion is of what is a better playoff. I mean, in 2021, we had James Conrad throw the best shot at disc golf and then win in the playoff, win in a 1-hole playoff right after.
Yeah.
Kyle Klein and Paul Macbeth at USDGC. Okay. Paul makes the big putt on 17,
but both of those playoffs. Let's analyze this. Both of those playoffs, like it was incredible moments leading up to the playoffs. Both playoffs though were pretty meh. Like
Yeah.
you immediately knew after the tee shots who won. Oh my goodness, Worlds last year too with Paul McBeth, same thing. If we go to USDGC, all with Paul McBeth, my goodness. We go to USDGC, you didn't know that. All right, I'll just roll with this. You didn't know that Kyle Klein was definitely going to lose off that tee shot, but it was pretty much in Paul's favor. And then both Worlds, the Utah one, you knew Conrad was parked, McBeth went OB. You knew Conrad was going to win. And then the Worlds one last year in Emporia, Gossage goes OB, McBeth was on the island. Like you knew it was going to be, like there was a chance, but you knew what was going to happen. But the Des Moines one, like the first couple holes, I think were a little bit slow. But when it was electric. It was hole 3. Like just I mean, I'm sure everyone remembers it as I'm saying it. I don't need to recap it. But Burridge hits that putt, and you thought like there's no way he mid-flight he like does the we talked about this. He does a little squat like, oh, that's in, and then runs it down, and then you get to Simon, and you're like, oh my goodness, like we thought Simon was going to win it, but now you see this putt, and it's not easy.
He hit a pressure putt, and he
and then Simon hits it, and then he had stump gate. Like I can give you that. Sorry, so good.
I can give you a little insight behind that because I talked to Simon about it. Behind his mindset, he was just like playing like carefree, like
that's John Elway.
That's John Elway. Football signed by John Elway.
Nice.
So I don't know. He just told me to grab it. He said that's really cool, and I'm not really much of a football person, but I figured Evan, you'd probably know who it is. But he,
I do know who John Elway is. Do you know what year that's from?
Absolutely.
They won the Super Bowl in what 99 and 2000. Cheated with those too. They went over the salary cap, but they don't like. They like to mention the Patriots cheating, but they don't like to mention they did it too. Fun fact, but not to dilute the cool John Elway signature.
Back to what I was saying. The reason I think he was just so calm, cool, collect because he's Simon and he's nasty, but his mindset was like he was okay with Burridge winning it just because he's like a young kid on the tour. Simon already had like how many at that point? Maybe it was like
2 at that point.
Yeah, so he was just like
MVP.
Like if he wins, he wins, and I think that's just a cool testament to Simon. Just like he was just playing calm, cool, collected, ice in his veins, and locked it down. Boom.
And I've just been given a bunch of cool stats all day about
John Elway.
No. About Parker Welck and how he's ranked 72nd in the world, which is a lot higher than you would think prior to this event, and that being the lowest ranked elite or major winner ever. Do you know what Burridge was ranked by the Statmundo official rankings before Des Moines?
140th.
I don't.
296.
Wow. And
I'm looking at players who have finished in first or second at elite or major events since the official ranking started in 2005. The next highest is Willie Prince at 2018.
Willie Prince, D-Glow. Willie Prince and D-Glow is like the perfect sentence. When you talk about D-Glow, you talk about Willie Prince.
And he was 161, which is crazy that Burridge is almost double the highest ranked, and we haven't seen anything higher. Like that's unreal. I'm going to pull it for Disc Golf Pro Tour standings right now. I don't know where Burridge was last year. He was 149th going into that event. He also would have been the lowest ranked by Disc Golf Pro Tour points. It's weird to say rank with that, but it technically is. The next lowest top 2 finisher is actually Simon Lizotte at Austin earlier this year. He was 130th, which I believe he played. He played Vegas, finished like 50 something, probably got a point, and just didn't play a few events. So with Disc Golf Pro Tour points, it's usually a little bit dependent on how many events this season. Yeah, because it doesn't count before, or at least how I ran it. It doesn't count before you're in the system, because obviously it'd be like undefined if it was the first event ever. And then you also had like Eagle McMahon being the second lowest at European Open last year, whereas actually world ranking was still top 10 or so. But his Disc Golf Pro Tour points was in the 60s, so not perfectly accurate, but still very cool.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. Yeah, I guess, I don't know. Now you got me thinking about live disc golf playoffs, and I think it's something that we're definitely going to see more and more. Man, the competition has just been getting so consistent lately that we're seeing consistency at the top, but we're also seeing players come up, and we're not seeing a lot of big number wins. We're seeing a lot of close battles, especially on the FPO side as well. Haley King, though, I just want to bring it back to dynamic discs open really quick. Haley King taking that down was, I think, something, the game that we were playing, a week or two ago with Matt, when we were talking about where are all these players standing, was it the over under 6, and we all sucked at the game. Evan, you weren't here for that, but it was a really fun game that Matt thought of. And we're all like, dude, Evan's probably kicking himself in the face right now because we all suck at this. But
I was gonna say, I tuned in for like 5 minutes, and then I heard some of it and then saw it later, and I was like, I already knew enough about it that I wasn't trying to play. But I did get a few wrong. Like it was probably
tough.
Closer to 50% than better than that.
Dude, it was tough. But anyways, we were talking about, I think he had said Haley King over under 6th place in DGPT standings right now. And I think all of us got the question wrong. We had Ryan Travis, he called in for the show as well. And it was wild. And so she's actually having a much better season than I had originally thought. But for her to take down the win. Wrong. We, for everyone out there, we did reach out to Haley. She is actually driving to Des Moines today. She's on the 16-hour drive, she had said. Our goal is to have her on next week, actually. Her and I have been in communication about it. So hopefully we will have her on next week.
It's good to lock in the back-to-back winner before they win back-to-back. So that way she can be overwhelmed next week.
Exactly.
I'll help your brain. I'm going to read through playoffs right now just because I was having trouble remembering. Yeah. So this is from all major elite and silver events. And this is for MPO and FPO. So we just had DDO this past weekend. We saw Portland just a little bit before that with Hamas and Gossage. And this might get old. So I mean, if it sparks some stuff and we're good to move on, that's fine too. But Jonesboro earlier this year, we saw Haley King and Kat Mersch. Last year, we saw an MVP Open, Kristen Tatar and Natalie Ryan. Worlds, Paul Macbeth and Aaron Gossage. Des Moines, Simon Lazat, Burridge. Deglow, Heimberg and Ellis. Sula Open. I think this was kind of exciting one. Barsby and Semerad. Jonesboro the year before, Heimberg and Macbeth. This might be the next most exciting is Las Vegas Challenge with Drew Gibson and
Drew Gibson. Yeah, that was a great playoff.
Oh, that might be it.
Drew Gibson's got 2 Pro Tour wins, both of them off of playoffs. That's pretty sick.
Yeah. Okay. And to keep on going, we have Mason Ford and Wysocki at 2021 Music City, which actually I want to take a quick break. Cool stat that I said earlier was Parker Welck was the first player to win an elite or major with 0 top 15 prior finishes from elite and major events with at least 1 start. If we lower that number just to top 10s, you have to include a few more players. And one of them is Mason Ford at 2020 Music City. He didn't have a single top 10 before that event. That was his first ever top 10. I'm forgetting there's one other MPO name, but I do know Des Redding is also in that club. She finished 11th. Oh, it was Greg Hosfeld. He finished 11th at a major before he won Worlds a few years later, I believe. So there's only 4 players who have won without a top 10 prior, and Mason Ford was one of them with that playoff win over Wysocki. This was another exciting one, Kyle Klein versus Andrew Marweed at Idlewild in 2021. We also saw the Clash of Canyons, 2021 Worlds. Then we got to go back to 2019 to see the Hall of Fame Classic. 2019
Adam Hammes, Calvin Heiberg.
2019 Portland Open. 2019 Las Vegas, and then we're getting close to the start of live coverage here, or at least in the current Disc Golf Network state. 2018 Beaver State Fling, 2018 Waco, 2017 Hall of Fame Classic had a 3-way playoff between Wysocki, Macbeth, and Lazat. And I think that's I'm jumping down the list here. 2 in a row, but we have 2016 Majestic and 2016 Vibram Open. I'm not going to say it's 2016 Vibram Open, but that was Chipmunk Gate.
Gate. That was so funny watching that live in person. MJ and Bradley Williams, and then Chipmunk Gate on MJ's upshot.
But then 2016 Majestic. Okay, if we
is that Sexton?
Yeah, it's Sexton and Wysocki.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would call that as good of a playoff. We'll say in the Disc Golf Pro Tour era, so it's 2016 to present.
Didn't Sexton miss a doink a putt?
I believe because they did just the same 2 holes back and forth.
18-1, maybe?
I forget I don't know the exact numbers, but it was like into the woods and then out.
Or 18 and 27 or 24. I know they played more holes out there.
Yeah, and I believe Sexton had 2 circle putts to win over Wysocki, and I think he missed them both, and then Wysocki won the next one. I forget exactly what, but if we're going to think about this topic, I think it's a 3. I think there's 3 possible ones being Des Moines. Oh my goodness, Las Vegas between Gibson and Burr, and then there's one other one that really popped out at me, but I don't know exactly what it was. But I think those two are really the main two.
I know that's all the live coverage playoffs that we've seen, but nothing rivals the 2014 Worlds playoff between Wysocki and Macbeth. That is just awesome to watch on YouTube.
It's Disc Golf Network did the rewatch with, I think was it Ian Anderson and Terry Miller, I think?
Probably.
I don't know if they had Macbeth or Wysocki on it, but they did a rewatch of it. And it's cool to watch it back in, like when Wysocki doinks on that 7th playoff hole. You're still just like, oh, that stinks. And like, I mean, but there's so much to it. There's so much back and forth, huge putts, big swings. And on the final hole of regulation, didn't Macbeth hit a ginormous putt to push it? Something like that.
Probably. Paul came back a dumb amount of strokes. And I think the last 36 or 27 holes had come back an insane amount, or maybe even the last like 12 holes. He did something ridiculous. If he was on right now, he could actually talk about it more. But
bring him on.
It's 4 a.m. where he is, probably
Florida
or 2 or 3. He's in Europe, bro.
I'm joking.
Goodness.
So I'm like, what?
Stupid joke.
Ben's best friend Daniel in the chat says Paige Pierce and Haley at the Disc Golf Pro Tour finale.
Yeah.
That's good memory too. I think wasn't there one other one at the Disc Golf Pro Tour finale? I didn't list those either. I was running through them, but because it was non-standard, it doesn't come up in this one. But yeah, that's a good point. And okay, now I'm curious because there's one last year between Wysocki and Robinson. That one again was a 1-hole one. But I feel like there's been a few more Disc Golf Pro Tour championships, but with just the amount of money on the line there, I feel like that can be a really big one too.
It's always tough. The 1-hole playoffs, you kind of forget about them a little bit quicker than the big ones like the Burridge and the Simon. A lot of times these 1-hole ones is one person, gets the birdie, one person gets the par. The Burridge and Simon one almost started out to where Burridge could have won it on the first hole because Simon, didn't he have a horrible second shot? Like it wasn't horrible, but he threw it into the ground only probably 150 feet in front of him to where for a fact he's taking a 4. And Burridge, I think, missed the circle 2 putt high or right side or something like that.
It was a big elevation. Well, not that big. For Des Moines, Iowa, a pretty big elevation drop. That makes it sound bad either. I'm not presenting it well here. But it was let's say a downhill putt from circle 2. It's one where like for the win, you're like, you almost got to make that, but then you think about it, you're like, that's a pretty tough putt.
Oh, no doubt. Playoffs are badass, dude. We love watching good disc golf like that. And really, while we're on the topic of Des Moines Challenge, I've got it pulled up on my PDGA page. And every single week we rush our picks at the end because we always freaking forget to do them. So I want to do Des Moines picks right now and get it out of the way. I want this to be for points. We can put $10 on it. Whoever does the best, whatever. But we're going to talk picks. Chat, I want you guys talking picks as well. Who's taking it down?
Should we make a rule that, like, even though she didn't win last week, you can't pick Kristen Tatar?
No.
I feel like
no, that's not how betting works. If I want to bet on the Celtics because they beat a team one night, I can bet on them again.
You have betting odds. So
betting odds. Okay, let's make some betting odds then. So all right,
minus 500 or something. I don't know.
So at the beginning of the season, we have to go by the ranks. And so if you pick Kristen Tatar and she's ranked number 1, you get 1 point. If you pick Kat Mertz and she's ranked number 12th, you get 12 points for a pick. I think that's a great idea. You would have gotten 126 points for Parker if you had picked him. Sick. No one's going to beat you.
That's not a bad way to do it.
We can come up with a point system though for maybe the 2024 Nick and Matt show season, or if you want to do it next week, we can do that.
We kind of already started doing it, but
we'll have to put together a spreadsheet. Yeah. Nah, Ben, you made up the rules halfway through. When you're picking winners, you go all out. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
that's Ben messing with me, right? It's not just the camera.
What was it?
Was that you, Ben?
No.
Or is that just my camera freaking out?
Your camera.
That's so weird. No, it was Ben. But when you're picking winners, you want to go all out. If your winner finishes second or 100th, you lost.
Exactly.
You're trying to go for
I'm betting
one.
on the people who I think are going to win the events. I thought AB and Kristen Tatar last week, and I was wrong on both regards. So
Yeah.
let's talk picks for Des Moines Challenge, the True Bank Des Moines Challenge presented by Discraft. On the MPO side, Eagle McMahon's playing the event. Okay, he is signed up for it. And whether he's playing it or not, who knows? Simon Lazat's playing the event. I really want to pick AB because I just want him to win an event. But I think realistically, if I'm actually going to pick someone, dude, Chris Dickerson's about to get his first win of the season.
Oh, that's a good call.
Bold.
Yep. Dickerson.
Nope. That's a Ben pick right there.
That is a great call.
That's a great pick.
All right, we're putting $1 on this then?
Yeah, we'll put $1 on it.
Okay, if we're putting $1 in, like, does the winner, if you pick number one, you just get the pool, or are we actually doing like a head-to-head matchup here?
No, you get the pool. We each put $1 in, so you get $4 winner take all.
Is this like an ace pot? It rolls over into the next week until someone picks a winner, and then it's split?
Yeah, I'm down with that.
That's kind of fair.
Yeah,
okay.
I like that idea, actually.
But, okay, but two pools, one for MPO, one for FPO. It's just like with Kristen Tatar,
No.
It just messes with everything.
All right, we got $2 each week. You put it in the
Okay.
same pool. If you get one of the
All right.
wins,
We have an MPO ace pot and an FPO ace pot.
Exactly.
Understood. All right, I'll go up next. I'm gonna go chalk by the ratings. I'm gonna pick Ricky Wysocki. Oh my!
I'm
goodness,
cutting
Ben,
you off
gotta
really
stop.
quick. You
Ben,
heard it
gotta
here
stop.
first. Matt Graham says, if Dickerson wins, I will shave my beard off.
Oh,
Someone screenshot it. I don't want him deleting that. Someone get a picture of it, because when Dickerson wins, we next week live on the Nick and Matt show are going to shave Matt's beard.
Oh my goodness! I will show up in studio for that.
Which I don't even know if he's going to be back next week, but we're going to do it. So
I hope
that is bold.
anyways,
Nick,
back to you.
I don't 100% agree with your pick, but not like I don't even have as nice of a beard as Matt. I wouldn't even shave my beard off for that. Like Chris Dickerson has a legitimate chance of winning. But I am going to go with Ricky Wysocki. Obviously not a chalk pick as far as this season goes. Did win Cascade, but I always feel like Des Moines lines up really well to Ricky's game. I don't know why. I'm not really a good like form and type of game analysis as far as just like numbers and stats, but it just feels like it works really well for Ricky. It seems like he's getting better. So I'm going to go with him, but I think there's a lot of good options here. It's a tough pick. Well, okay, before we get to Ben, I got to sidetrack because I just thought this was so cool and would have been such a good thing. Last year, I picked Gannon Burr to win this event. For the first time ever, I picked him before he won a major elite. He's going back to Iowa. I think it'd be such a cool moment, but he missed cash this past week, so I don't know if I can pick him.
Yeah.
So going with Ricky.
Okay.
Oh, you Ben.
On me. I mean, you guys know what I'm gonna pick. My one of my favorite players ever. I'm gonna go off Kearns's coattails, I guess, and say Gannon Burr. I think he's gonna win.
Burr.
He's in Iowa. I always believe in. I think I picked him like not DDO, but the one before that. Maybe I picked him. I think he's gonna take it down. I think he's top 3 in the world, and I think he just had it off round, Evan. So take that.
He had an off 3 rounds, Ben. An off 3 rounds. Actually, no, he did have a very bad last round. I saw he shot 72. I don't really know what the par is out there, but it was not great.
I would pick Burr over Dickerson personally if I had to put money on one or the other.
That's fine. When I take all you guys' money, it's all right. It don't matter.
Yeah, no hate to Dickerson. I hope he gets the win too.
Matt, who did Matt say? Matt said Gannon Burr as well, actually.
Oh, that's boring.
He said Kristen Tatar and Gannon Burr.
And then
I'm
going Cap
FPO.
merch. Oh, did we not do Cap merch? I mean, did we not do FBO?
No, we're going to FPO now.
Okay, cool. Go ahead, Nick.
All right, I'm going to shut my camera off, Ben. If I'm just going to be red for the rest of the night.
All right, I'm done.
He just starts bleeding.
This is what happens when Matt's not here. I just get cameras messed with.
I can do it because Matt's not here. Dude, this has been an intrusive thought of mine for like ever. Just like I've always thought about when you're like drink a water, do something to just press you so you're live on screen. But this is a more fun show, so I thought.
All right, let's roll into FPO.
Yeah.
Nick,
rolling it into FPO. It's hard not to pick Kristen Tatar, but Missy Gannon and Paige Pierce are also at the event, along with Haley King. Also, Paige Pierce only 970 rated right now. Missy Gannon is actually higher rated than Paige, which I didn't realize that. I kind of like Kristen Tatar winning. Or no, actually, I should say I love Kristen Tatar winning this event because I definitely think she will. Kind of like a Paige Pierce pick though. But I think I'm going to stick with my guts. I'm going to be very boring and say Chris Dickerson and Kristen Tatar.
All right, I'm going to do the same. I mean, if we're putting money on this, oh my goodness, Ben's trying to mess with so much that he almost took the whole stream down.
No, that was a complete accident.
If we're putting money on this, like, there's no way you can't go Kristen Tatar. It'd be really fun to pick. Like, I think Holland Hanley is just so due. I don't know if this course is it, and she just finished second, so I'm not trying to hop on that bandwagon and have a boring pick. But you want to do if we're putting money on it, I have to go Tatar. There's no other way.
Exactly.
It's you, Ben, which is why I said we should do no Tatar for doing money, but we'll let it roll.
No, see, the thing is, if you and I both pick Tatar and she wins, this is what we also got to figure out. If we're doing this for money, we can't have the same picks. You know what I mean? Because if you and I pick Kristen Tatar, then all it's going to do is push into next week.
Unless Ben goes somebody else and risk it all.
And they win, yeah.
And then we each win 33 cents, and that's
all right,
cool with me.
Gamber, Holland Hanley, that's what I picked.
All right, let's go. If Kristen Tatar wins, I get 33 cents.
Decent. There you go. No, see, if Kristen wins and I pick her and you pick her, then it should just push to next week, and then we get a $2 ace pot. That's how I think it should be.
No, it's an ace pot. If it's not two people hit it, then the ace pot rolls over to the next event.
Yeah, but it's not really an ace pot. That's the thing. It's not actually an ace pot. It's just a pool. It's a money pool.
Yeah, okay, but then think about this. If
so you want to split, the dollar. We'll get all right, Evan. We'll do 50 cents a piece. That's fine. You don't want to make any money. We won't make any money.
No, we're making Ben's money because Ben picked Holland Hanley, which is a fine pick. It's just you're picking.
So we're making 50 cents off of.
No, we're making
not even because
me, you, and Matt are because Matt still
33 cents a piece. Yeah.
Yes. Well, somebody gets 34 or something like that. But yeah,
it is called the Nick in Matt show, so I think I should get the 34 cents. But that's just just my 2 cents.
Goodness. But if it rolls over to the next week because we pushed. I guess you're thinking of Skins, and that's why Skins is dumb. But we're already at the end of the show.
Skins is great. Playing Skins is so fun, dude.
It's fun, but I hate the rolling over to do. It's like different in disc golf because you're trying to push it. I mean, maybe it does make sense here, but either way, I think it's dumb. I wish Skins was slightly different.
Dude, I want to see, and now we're just kind of casually talking because we got all of our picks in. Now we're just casually talking. I want to see super doubles in disc golf. I want to see two of the best players in the world pick
super. Okay, I see.
Yeah, like super dubs, like just straight up doubles. But I want to see Paul Macbeth and AB versus Goose and Adam Hammis, and I want to see Ricky playing with his close buddy like Corey Ellis. I want to see them partnered up. Like I want to see the best players in the world play doubles for a fat chunk of change, like $3,000 to first place. Like I want to see legitimate doubles, and I would love to see 1 round alternate shot doubles, 1 round best shot doubles, and 1 round worst shot doubles. Like I think that would be sick.
Stop it, Ben.
But
I think this is a good place to end the show because Ben's going off the rails.
Ben's getting bored.
I do. Yeah. Ben's getting so bored right now.
So
I do agree with the super doubles thought. Yeah. I think it would be cool to see that and pick your own partners. I mean, the All-Stars did that 2 years ago. We have mixed doubles for World Championships, but it would be cool to have a little bit more of those. We saw match play. Honestly, I'm not a ginormous fan of match play. Ben, really, I can't deal with
Ben, turn it back.
I'm done.
But I'm not the biggest fan of match play. It is nice to have a shakeup. It looks like we're not seeing it this year just based on the schedule, but I do agree doubles would be really fun. But
I didn't realize that we're not seeing match play this year.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. It's not on the schedule right now, so
maybe it'll be an end of the year thing. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. The schedule is busy. It's tough, and they put it in the. Okay, so last year they put it in the kind of you have the Mountain West that really breaks up the West Coast before we get back to the Midwest. This year they actually put a stroke play normal event with Zootown. I thought that was great. I hope Zootown stays in the schedule because it breaks it up between the West Coast and Midwest. I'd like to see one going out too, but we'll see how it works. It's tough to put it in. So it was cool that they had a Colorado in last year. And unfortunate news about Bailey. Also tough to have a whole 18-hole stroke play out there. Zootown seems like it's a little bit better set up. It just be really cool to see something like that. Even if we get back to the Fort, and do, just a silver event there, or get to a golf course in Colorado or Montana or something. I think there's a cool potential. So I wish that was around more, but I don't know how I got onto that sidetrack.
No golf courses.
For an in-between event to get from the West Coast to the Midwest.
I'd rather see stuff like the Zootown, par 59.
I would rather see that too.
Yeah,
yes.
that's what
I
I
understand the constraints with that. So,
and look at everyone talking about how much they hated watching ECC this week, and it's just it's not the most enjoyable type of disc golf to watch. No. And I don't know. Like I said earlier, it needs wind to be more enjoyable.
I will say, like the one before that, like Portland Open, was very entertaining to watch.
Portland was very entertaining.
As
Portland had awesome course design and 2 different courses on it. I'm actually a big fan of 2-course tournaments. I like the mix up with it. I wish single course tournaments would do something different every single round. Change the pin positions, put them in the easy positions day 1, the hard positions day 2 and 3. I would love that, like USTGC does with hole 5. Do that at more courses. Change up a couple holes. Don't just change the whole. Like there were a couple new design changes for Emporia Country Club this year. I think there was 1 or 2 brand new holes, and then there were some smaller changes here and there, but it still was the same. Like hole 1, put the pin position in the middle, and then maybe put it more to the right, put it shorter, put it, right before that teeing area or golf green. Do something like that, change it up just a little bit more, and put new tee pads in at Emporia Country Club. It's so funny when everyone is commenting on how skinny those tee pads were. I had actually never noticed that until I went out to Emporia Country Club last year. And it was like they were the weirdest tee pads in the world.
Yeah, it is odd. I do agree with the changing of pins. I mean, I think we've talked about this before too, so not to dive into it too much. Like keeping track of stats, it makes it tougher. Keeping track of like records and whatnot, it makes it tougher. And all these things that I love, it does make it tougher. But I am. Oh my god,
your job's tough.
I'm with you, Nick. I'm with you, Nick. It's more work. It's more effort. It's not as good data, but I still think it's better for the game to see changing pins. I would love to see it. I also do agree with the 2 courses 4 rounds event. I know it's kind of a hot topic. I feel like a year or 2 ago. I wish every elite event was 4 rounds and every major was 5 rounds. That's my official stance.
Yes. Great take, Evan. And great freaking take.
Thank you. Some of them can be 4 rounds at 1 courses, but like real rare case. I'm talking Maple Hill or
why do we do 5-round majors though in disc golf? Why do we do 5-round majors? Excuse me, not 5-round majors. We do a 5-round worlds, and then all the other majors are 4 rounds with a cut. Why do we do 5-round worlds?
Here's my thought with it too. Is so if we're comparing straight to traditional golf, ball golf, regular golf, whatever you want to say,
it's just called golf.
Golf, more scoring separation per hole. You have 1 round, you'll get scoring separation. You don't see a 10-way tie at first place, or what was it this past week? I think it was 10 players within 1 stroke of the leader. I don't even know who it was leading after round 1, but then it was the next all right 1 stroke behind. Golf, you see a much bigger spread, and so even if you have a 3-round tournament in golf, it kind of could work, and they do 4 rounds. So now we have a sport with less score separation, and we're doing 3 rounds for the majority of our events. You're going to have a lot more I don't even say like wilder finishes, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. We saw Parker Welck win this past weekend. Does he win a 4-round event? He might not. We saw Aaron Gossage almost win Worlds last year after it would have been 4 rounds, but then didn't get it done the 5th round. We've seen a lot of those instances happening. I mean, Evan Scott just won a 2-round Zootown Open. He was up by 4 strokes, but there's no guarantee he wins after the 3rd round. There's more chances for the consistent player to come out on top the more rounds there is.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of this weird thing where in disc golf, because we have less, we have less rounds and it's less scoring separation, but at the same time, it does create really exciting finishes. You can have more, inconsistencies. I mean, I don't think you would ever see a player in the outside the top 70 in the official world golf rankings win a PGA Tour event. Maybe that happens. I don't actually know. I don't follow golf that closely. But you don't see these crazy finishes. You don't see all these playoffs, and disc golf does have that. So it is a good thing at the same time. But I also do wish we had more rounds. And I think 2 courses is great. I think 2 rounds at a single course is great. I thought Jones Supreme and Emporia Country Club were fairly good crossover. I you obviously wish it was wooded and open, but I thought there were two good ones. You didn't get too bored of either because it was only 2 rounds. When you do 3 at one, it can get a little bit slow, and I don't think it's a fault of this course as much as people were saying.
Yeah,
but
I want to give a quick little shout out to the username Disc Golf, $10 super chat. Thank you very much. We greatly appreciate that. But he had said, why can't disc golf have its own traditions and unique style compared to, he says, ball golf? I still like to call it golf because that's actually what it's called. But I definitely think we should be unique in certain areas. We don't have to take every single thing from golf and bring it over into disc golf. I do think golf is very successful, and there's a lot of things that we can take away from golf. But yes, there are a lot of things that we should be unique about. I mean, we have 3-round Silver Series events. We have 4-round Elite Plus events. We have 4-round majors, and we used to actually have 10-round majors, I think it was. I would actually love to see Worlds go back to that major grind that it used to be. Some of the days were 2 rounds. They were shotgun start. You played 36 holes in one day. I would actually love to see it go back to that, especially at a place like Vermont this year. I think you could play 2 rounds in one day if you shotgun started, but you have the 2 different pools. You got people playing Brewster, you got people playing Fox. I mean, I definitely think that it's doable, and I personally would love to see that. I know a lot of pros would probably not like to see that, but at the same time, I definitely think there are a lot of areas that we should be unique in. But like I said, I think there are things that we can take away from golf. But Evan, I do agree with you very much. I think Silver Series events are great 3-round events. You have something like the cancellation for the last round. It became a 2-round event, but being a Silver Series event, it wasn't that bad. Make it now a 4-round event for the Elite Series and the Elite Plus events. And then, 5-round majors, I actually think would be great. Open up the field like they do for Worlds. Make it 5 rounds with 2 different pools. Make it cut after round 3 if you really want to. Shrink the field by 72 players, even do a cut after round 3 and then a cut after round 4, and then you got the best of the best playing on round 5. So many different ways that we could go about doing it. I don't think there is a perfect way to do it, but I definitely think that there are a lot of scenarios that could be pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a good time. I'm going to say we should cut it off here. We're getting close to 10 p.m. Eastern, and I will say,
I'm tired.
If you want to check out more disc golf podcasts, you can watch the Nick and Matt Show after show at Smashbox TV's YouTube channel.
Exactly. So, anyways, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Ben, you got the music? Hit me up with that low-key piano. Oh, no, not that one.
Not it.
I don't know. Nope, they're labeled differently.
Not it.
We need Matt Graham. We need Matt Graham.
There we go. Everybody, thank you for tuning in to episode 146. We want to thank Cosmic DG and DG Max Wax for being incredible support of the show. Thank you all for tuning in. We very much appreciate it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe on the video. Please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. That helps us out with the algorithms and lets more people see it. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check us out on all your favorite podcast platforms. Like Evan had just said, check out Smashbox TV. They are about to go live. They are the Nick and Matt Show after show. Very rarely when we have to do a Tuesday night show, which isn't very often. We will be live again next Monday, though. I will be in studio, 99% sure of that right now. Tell someone you love them this week. We'll catch you in the next one.
All right,
Ben, you're awesome. Nick, you're awesome. Evan, you're awesome. It's the Nick and Matt Show.
Peace.
The Nick and Matt Show, a disc golf podcast designed for you, the disc golfer. Find the Nick and Matt Show on your favorite podcast platforms or join the conversation live on YouTube.